Hello, fellow followers, and welcome back to FanZcene. And this is the 50th episode of the Physical Media Show. And I will be honest with you guys, I did not realize this was the 50th episode, or else I would have planned maybe a little something for you guys, giveaway or something. And I
Maybe
apologize
next
for that.
week we'll have something special.
Maybe next week we'll do something special for you guys.
I can still do that Raiders of the Lost Ark digital giveaway.
Oh, that's right. And
you can try that one again.
Apologies as well for that last week. Where runner, he messed up on it, but that's okay. He still got the code. He can give it away to somebody tonight if you guys want it.
Yes, it can still be redeemable.
Yes, and you have to be in America, and we'll figure out how to get it to you. But
and just to let you know, you gotta message me on Twitter. That's like the best way.
But
because the guy who won didn't have Twitter.
Yeah, that happens. Not a lot of people like Twitter, though, especially with things that's going on. But hail to everybody in chat. Random Brad Creator, he sends good vibes. And glad to have you here as always. Brian Barth, hell. Hank VP, hell, welcome. Berserker99, my dude, what's up? Happy 50th, he says. And Tyrell72, hell to y'all. Good to see you. Good to see you too, man. And happy Joy, Brandon Bradgate. And greetings, Dan Blackroyd. Always glad to have you guys in the chat and everybody watching. Glad you guys are here tonight, enjoying some physical media with us physical media lovers. So, what's up, Seika, too? Good morning. Let's see, what do we want to talk about a little bit before we get into everything? Big news here for me, at least, is Fright Night is coming to 4K, and I'm really excited about that.
That's
we covered
Steelbook, right?
Yeah, that's a 3-disc Steelbook, 4K for the movie, 2 Blu-rays, 1 disc being special features. So,
that's cool. Yeah. Sony seems to be doing a lot. Like their first release for a 4K is like a Steelbook, which is pretty cool, which they did for Heavy Metal.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, because Heavy Metal was great, and the Dracula Steelbook looks amazing. And then we're also getting Real Genius by Sony, which is not a Steelbook, but that looks great. Sony's been releasing some pretty good 4Ks here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm more excited for the Real Genius one. That's such a good
I'm
movie.
excited for that. Yeah. What's up, Stephen Luther? Welcome. And Brian Barth. I did see that trailer, and it does look horrible.
The only thing I think I saw someone posted on Twitter, and the only thing I saw was the old school Universal picture.
That was probably the best part of it, the old school Universal opening.
Yeah, the casting, of course, is my biggest fear and the worst part. Honestly, I don't think it looks so horrible as it is just Rob Zombie insisting on hiring his wife and friends to be in everything.
Exactly. The voice for Herman did not match.
No, I don't know what they're thinking of there. It's like, come on, Brad Garrett should be Herman.
Exactly.
Munster.
Sounds like you. Yeah.
And having your wife as Lily Munster is just some self-insert bullshit. It's not him, but it's his wife, right?
Yeah, right.
I don't care if she played like a teacher in the movie, some side character, fine, but no, I'm sticking to. Come on, Rob, seriously.
Yeah, she was not channeling Lily Munster, and I don't know who she was channeling that, but it was awful. It was awful. It was pretty bad. I'm going to watch it. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to watch it because I want to see it, whether it's a train wreck or whether it's good, but it's not looking good. So, yeah. Yeah, watch the trailer Berserker, but I don't. If you're a Munsters fan, I don't think you'll quite like it. See, this was my.
There's a lot to love there for a Munsters fan. Don't get me wrong, but it's just the casting is going to cause most people to go, huh?
Yeah. See, my biggest fear is like we've talked about, is Rob Zombie is a huge fan of the Munsters. He did audio commentary with Eddie Munster for the Munster movie, Munsters Go Home. He's been a huge fan, but I think his fan love for it and the casting of like his friends is going to hurt the movie. And it looks, so sometimes it's not always best to be a huge fan of the property you're working on. To have
I
knowledge.
think you're 100% right. You said it best. It's more so that he can't detach himself from casting most of all his wife and his friends
Right.
in everything. It just didn't work here. I don't think it's going to work here.
I mean, it's not like it's like Adam Sandler, because Adam Sandler casts his friends in like everything he does, but it's not like he's basing it off of properties like the Munsters or something. You know what I mean?
And yeah, the guy playing Grandpa is probably the only one that
he's the only one
decent.
that felt. Yeah, he's the only one that felt like Grandpa a little bit. You know what I mean? But then again, that guy's been an actor for years, more so than I think most of the other people in the cast. Francis Ford Coppola's upcoming movie Megalopolis is getting into gear. That's cool.
I'll believe it, Bryant, once it actually starts filming and I see some images. I know it's getting technically closer, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I know they've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. So
yeah. And Hell Martin Vasquez, he says, Hell FanZcene Tom and Runner. Hell to lovely chat. Yeah. Who's playing Uncle Fester in this film? That'd be Christian Bale. He's
yeah, that's a good answer.
Wait, what?
Runner's like, hey, what?
No, I just get back and I don't know. Did you say Christian Bale? Are you talking about Thor: Love and Thunder?
Hank VP said who's playing Uncle Fester in this film. We're talking about the Munsters and
yeah.
When you have to explain a joke, it loses its punchline there.
No, I don't know anything about the Munsters.
But yeah, I'm not optimistic. I will give it a chance, but I'm not optimistic. I kind of get. I mean, I was wondering where Eddie Munster and oh my gosh, their niece or whatever, the normal chick. I can't remember her name at the moment. I was wondering where they are, but it looks like the story is basically how Herman and Lily become
Marilyn.
Marilyn was their niece, but it was basically the story of how Herman and Lily get married, how they join together, which that sounds like a good story to tell because we've never actually seen it, but the way it was presented and the way it was acted and casted does not look like it's selling it to me off the bat.
And I think it's coming straight to streaming too. It's not a theatrical release. Yeah,
it looks like it's going straight to Peacock, I believe I read last. Which that's probably one of the worst streaming services. Did you ever cancel yours, Tom?
No, I keep fucking forgetting.
I canceled mine as soon as I saw Halloween's Kills. Kills.
Yeah, I should have.
But
speaking of, we're supposed to be getting a Halloween Ends trailer on the 20th.
The 20th. From what I'm hearing,
that's what people are speculating. Yeah.
From what I'm hearing, is that's not looking too good either.
I guess it depends on who you ask. Some test screenings are supposedly happening, and they're getting good reviews.
So really? I've heard some stuff about people. Well, not really so much about the test screenings. It's about some other people. Like, there's been leaks of like him possibly wearing like something similar to Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Speaking of Halloween 2.
God, I hope not.
There's been an image leaked or something where he's got like a hoodie on over his mask and looks very reminiscent of Halloween 2's thing. And yeah. And there was one big rumor, which I think pretty sure this rumor has been proven false. So beware. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. So if you don't want to hear this, don't listen. But I'm pretty sure this rumor has been proven false. So just be aware of that. There was one big rumor that they were going to kill Michael Myers in the very beginning of the film, and then the rest of the movie is how she talked about how he transcends, is like the town living in fear of the boogeyman who no longer exists.
That's dumb.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure
I've only seen the first movie, and that sounds dumb.
I'm pretty sure that's been proven false. So I think we'll just wait and see. I want to see the trailer.
Okay, that would honestly be one of the worst ideas ever.
But yeah, there's that. But anyways, Tom, real quick before we get into this, the Star Trek stuff, since we didn't get to bring it up on 4K.
Oh yeah, well, we did get a few announcements that I doubt you've had a chance to even cover on your channel yet this afternoon.
Right.
From Paramount, Wayne's World being the most exciting of the bunch, and they also have Star Trek on the way eventually.
Is there a Was there a release date for Wayne's World?
Not yet.
Not yet, but it's the
Okay.
30th anniversary, so I'm sure it'll be September, October, somewhere in there probably.
And that will be in 4K, everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so what's going on is there's a bunch of questions about the whole Star Trek situation, and we have a little bit more clarification now. So we are getting the director's edition. It's getting a single edition release. There's the 6 movie release with, can't remember how many discs altogether, but for all the movies, the original 6 Star Trek films. And then there's a deluxe edition that's limited. So keep in mind, kids, that this is a limited edition that's only going to be out for so many, kind of like the whole Ghostbusters box set.
Yeah.
Once it's gone, it's gone. And in this edition, which is a 3-disc edition of the director's, of the first film, let's say, and it's like $80 to $100, depending on where you've been able to pick it up. You might get lucky to get it for $80, but I've not seen it for that cheap. I'm just saying, I'm assuming it's going to be more than $100 in most places. The limited edition has has 3 discs in it, not just 2, like the standalone edition. And then on the 3rd disc is actually the theatrical cut and the special longer edition in 4K Ultra HD, which would basically be the TV cut. Okay. And that version is only available in that box set, and that's the only differences. Okay. Now, there is another note to that, because they do list all the special features, and there's a bunch of new special features. There was 2 additional feature commentaries, or 2 additional features, sorry, that were on the theatrical cut of the version that's already been released, and those aren't listed here. And that would be an audio commentary with Michael and Denise Okuda, Judith and Garfield Reeds, Stevens and Darren Docherman, and a library computer viewing mode. Those are rumored at this point, I guess. They just say they may be included. So right. I think they haven't been able to probably get everything cleared on them or something or other. Something happened maybe. So those versions may be on the theatrical cut. They just don't know yet. But otherwise, you've got a bunch of new stuff. All the classic features that we've had before, including new deleted and additional scenes from the 79 version. A couple of deleted scenes from the 83 special longer version, which I'm assuming they're just separate from the version you can watch. Some effects tests, some costume tests, computer display graphics, all the 2009 and 2001 special features. This was something that I think before was only available in a specific collection. 2 special features from 2016 called The New Frontier, Resurrecting Star Trek, and Maiden Voyage, Making Star Trek the Motion Picture. Nice. So I think that's the only way we're going to be able to get those again, if you hadn't got that, a special collector's edition, which if I remember right, I think was a big collector's box set with a bunch of Star Trek stuff in it on Blu-ray. Mm-hmm. And then again, like I said, it gets all the other classic stuff carried over. The only ones that are in question right now are those 2 other things that I brought up before. And the viewer mode may just be a technical thing, but I think if they had it on the Blu-ray before, I would assume it may be a more of a size issue than anything. We'll see. But the commentary probably just have to get somebody to sign off on it or something.
Yeah. But it sounds good. I mean,
so there's the update. So if you want that special TV edition, which is a complete other cut than the director's edition or the theatrical cut, the only way you can get that is in this limited edition box set, and that's it. So keep that in mind. And that's probably one of the reasons, besides the swag, this edition is costing that much. Because I'll be honest with you, outside of some out of print situation, I have never paid this much for a movie by itself. Brand new.
It's crazy. I mean, you see that big box set and you're thinking, like Victor Fontaine says here, the 6 movie, 15 box set. You're thinking that's what it is, but no, it's just the one
and that's not even that much more than this. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, and that's just for one movie and all those.
Just the one movie, but it's 3 different versions and all the special features, some swag. And outside of like that American Werewolf import I did, that's the most I've ever spent on a movie before. This would be the most I've ever spent on a first release single title release.
That's crazy.
Ever. Like, that wasn't out of print already. I know, it's just insane. So
it is. It's like sometimes it's like you think Paramount is like takes 2 steps forwards, and then they're like, yeah, then we want to get our money.
Yeah.
Sounds weird. But there you guys have it for that. And like I said, Wayne's World is coming to 4K. Fright Night's coming to 4K. Saturday Night Fever's coming to 4K.
King Kong
1976 with Jessica Lange and
King Kong comes
Bridges,
to Burger
right?
Chef.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I almost wanted to say Bo Bridges for
with
a minute.
4
I was like,
collectible cups.
I remember. But they
Sorry,
don't
that
do
commercial
that
is
stuff
stuck
anymore.
in my head as a kid. Like,
I wish they would do stuff like
King
that again.
Kong.
Sadly, I think the last time I remember something where they sold cups and stuff was Star Trek 2009.
Something like that. Yeah, they haven't really done it much in the last few. Like, I would get one once in a great while through the theaters, but they kind of quit doing them. Well, see, the fast food companies, and I was working at Taco Bell during the time of like the Phantom Menace and the Star Wars stuff, and the word came down from the top that they would never do that kind of a deal again because they spent way too much and it did not generate the interest in Taco Bell they were hoping it would. Because when it was all said and done, we were stuck with all kinds of those posters, Jar Jar Binks lip cup lids and all that kind of crap.
Oh man!
Like, so I mean, I still got a few of the posters rolled up in plastic. I doubt they're worth a shit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's probably hundreds of them out there, and I've got things to compare them to. Like, my buddy came across a box load of what looked like a liquidation collection of the 1990 Ninja Turtle movie poster.
Right.
That you would normally spend, $4 at Walmart for, Kmart, whatever, the day.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it even had Kmart stickers on them. He was lucky to get $20 a pop for those. So there's no way those Phantom Menace posters are worth that because they were mass produced even probably wider. And they were sold for like 79 cents to begin with. And yeah, so I'm willing to bet you if you go on eBay, they probably can't give them away.
Yeah, you probably can't, right? Sadly, I do actually have all the Star Trek 2009 glass cups in their boxes.
Yeah, that's all right.
I mean, I like the cups.
The 2009 movie was all right. I mean, it's just the idea of what came out of it was the problem.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I didn't have a problem with that first one, but yeah.
And yes, that is correct, Tim Hayes. Burger Chef later became Burger King.
Yes. You don't need Star Wars to sell tacos; they sell themselves.
That's true, and
That's
well,
true.
that and it was the Godzilla thing didn't help.
Oh, the Matthew
like they
one.
sunk a bunch of money into like all these like big movies that didn't do what they were hoping for them to do toy wise and all that kind of stuff, and
yeah.
McDonald's was the only one who would usually have luck when it came to like doing Disney tie-ins.
I actually have.
Burger King did for a while with those little figurine guys. They kind of predated the Funko Pops. Do you remember those?
Oh yeah.
Little squished guys they would do. They had a whole Star Wars one of those for a run for episode 3.
Yeah, I remember all those. I was just saying I still have a Batman Forever glass mug. And
let me put it to you this way. When I worked at Burger King, they still had some of those toys laying around for when we run out of other shit.
That's crazy.
That's why a lot of those companies are like, fuck that noise anymore. They don't do a lot of that stuff.
That explains why the kids don't get as good toys anymore as they used to.
Oh, hell no, because they would never get rid of it. And like it used to be one of those things, like, because when they get with the hot commodity ones, like you remember I don't know if you remember, you guys are, I don't know, Runner's not old enough, but I don't know if you're old enough, Greg, to remember like the Smurfs and the California Raisins and things like that.
I remember the California Raisins and
because like when Hardee's,
a little bit of the Smurfs.
Yeah, when Hardee's would run their Smurfs and California Raisins deal, those things would sell out all the time because they would only get X amount, and especially like the Smurfs, they had like 30 you could collect at a time. And you had people that would go in there and they would obsess over these things, and they were like the Beanie Babies or the Funko Pops of the time kind of thing. I compare them a lot to the Minions because that's the thing is you could kind of just thrust whatever you wanted onto them, right? You had like Painter Smurf, Handy Smurf, and Microwave Smurf. Well, no, that's all over the place. But I'll be here all week, kids.
But yeah, I do. There you go.
He had a blast.
I do remember the California Raisins. I remember because I was a big fan of them actually when they were on.
Same thing with those. Like you had Surfer Raisin, and you had the Guitar Raisin, the Saxophone Raisin, and they all had different little guys, and they had tons and tons of those, right? So that used to be like a very sellable thing, and like you said, we used to get some decent toys out of especially in the 80s and 90s, and then they just kind of tapered off because of that.
Yeah.
The whole spending too much on these franchise pick tentpole movies.
Big movies, yeah.
They're not performing the way they're supposed to or whatever.
Yep, especially when you like back in stuff like the Godzilla movie, which yeah,
people forget. I mean, the prequels made money too, but for some reason, people get very pissy when I tell them that they oversaturated the market.
Oh, I believe
episode 1 shit to the point where when it came to episode 2, there was nothing really for the type of merchandising. In episode 3, there was a little bit more, but that was mainly because they really keyed into the Darth Vader shit.
Yeah.
So like for those who just for some reason they have like either they don't want to remember, they weren't old enough to remember, and they have like this cognitive dissonance for it. But it's like, yeah, you go understand. I had my video store. I was stuck with Jar Jar Binks shit out the ass.
It's true.
Like I still have some of it. Like that's how much of it I got stuck with.
The thrift stores and like the flea markets that I go to, there's literally rooms where it's Star Wars Episode 1 toys on all
That's
four
the thing.
walls.
They oversaturated that fucker. Like the night
it's oversaturated.
They had like 2 waves of figures and stuff that came out. People were hitting like Toys R Us and Walmarts on midnight the month before the movie came out, when the first wave came in and then the second wave came in after the movie. There was like over 100 figures in that wave. It's like, my God, and how many there were. And you got guys walking out with 10 Darth Mauls, and you're like, I just remember thinking to myself, those ain't gonna be worth shit.
Yeah.
You got 10 of the bastards.
It's like
and they're
the same
all still
thing.
in the package, and I guarantee you none of them are coming out either.
Yeah, it's like the same thing they did in the 90s with the comic books, and printed there's X variant cover A, B, and C, and then they're worth.
And this is why a lot of those toys guys, and then we'll get off the subject onto the actual show.
Yeah.
And this is why a lot of these toys guys will tell you a lot of those figures past the 90s aren't worth a whole hell of a lot, because that's when you actually did have kids saving them in the boxes. So now you can go get like, what is it, is it Powers of the Force, whatever the 90s like Star Wars toys are, you can get them for next to nothing. And it's not so much because a lot of them looked like shit, because those are the bulky or funky looking ones, but people kept them in the packages and stuff. So like you can get them for so cheap because there's so many of them out there that, like you just said, like the comic market, they kind of saturated the collector's market with it too.
It's like I said, when like the flea market I usually go to once in a while, it's like there's literally like 2 or 3 rooms where all 4 walls, whatever, are filled with Episode 1 Phantom Menace toys, and they're like a quarter to like 20 cents each.
That's like, what I'm saying. Like you can't give some of that shit away.
Exactly. You can't. It's like these people are not selling.
I had koosh balls. I had rubber figures. I had like the Beanie Baby fucking Jar Jar Binks and stuff like that. Like most of the stuff sold. All the Darth Maul stuff sold real quick.
Yeah.
But if it was Queen Amidala stuff or Jar Jar Binks, I had a hard time getting rid of it.
That happens.
But anyhow, on with the show.
On with the show. Let's start with you, Runner. What do you got for us for your first pick of the night? Are you there?
I'm here.
He fell asleep. Right. He's like, these old people are talking about raisins and shit.
Yeah. What's raisins and the Smurfs?
What the fuck is a Smurf?
You know what
Smurf and Smurf you up, man.
I know what the Smurfs are. I've never cared about them, but
I'm just picking on you, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I know. So, as some might know, I had a pretty interesting few days recently, and I was at a convention, and there just so happened to be some business selling Blu-rays. And yeah, to those there that are probably asking, oh, they're probably bootleg. Yeah, they are. But they're fucking
those are the best kind sometimes.
Exactly.
No, they are, and I got some good ones. Like the shit you just could never get anywhere else. It was expensive, but it was well worth it. And one thing I got is it's not a show that went on for too long. There's a few things in it I like.
Golden Girls?
No. No.
Facts of Life?
No.
You take the good, you take the bad, you put them both together, and then you have.
This
Facts of Life.
No one remembers this show because it only went for like 1 season because it probably just didn't do well. But it's an animated series. And it's based off a video game.
Mortal Kombat. I was thinking it was Sonic for a second there.
Yeah, no, I forgot he's a Mortal Kombat fan, so I should have guessed it.
Oh yeah, Defenders of the Earth. There was that thing.
Yeah.
It's Defenders of the Realm, not Earth.
Well, excuse us.
Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. There are a few things in this I like, but overall it doesn't feel like Mortal Kombat. That's my only gripe.
I've never seen that cartoon, so I can't really say much
I
about it.
vaguely remember it.
There's not a whole lot of it that I liked. I got it anyway because I'm like, why not? But like, I'll say this: Clancy Brown voices Raiden in this, and he's
does he?
Yeah, and he's fucking great.
I mean, Clancy Brown is pretty much great in everything.
I know, but like, I kind of wish Clancy Brown played Raiden in live action instead of Christopher Lambert, but that's just my opinion. Like the voice alone is like, yes, like that's very like Raiden.
I got something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away.
Yeah.
Mom. I'm
Runner
Kenny. Of course you are.
Runner has
That's
no
Clancy
idea what those
Brown.
lines are from. Yeah. By the way, Clancy
That's
Brown.
why Clancy Brown kicks so much ass.
Oh hell yeah, he's
He's
Kurgan
great.
in Highlander. He's the bad guy.
The kid.
I know.
That's what he's doing.
No,
She
'cause-
wasn't Ramirez's woman. She was yours.
No, but what was it? No, because like in when I watched speaking of Highlander, like when you watch that first Mortal Kombat movie with Christopher Lambert as Raiden, it's just like it's just Connor McLeod. It's not Raiden.
It's not even really Connor McLeod. It's just what's
Lots
his
of
name?
different places.
Yes.
No, but I'm serious. Like anytime I watch that movie, and I like the movie, but like I'm one of the few people that did not like Christopher Lambert as Raiden. It just didn't feel
What?
like Raiden.
He was perfect in that movie.
In Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
Honestly, he acts better in that movie than he does in anything else he's ever been in.
It's even better probably than Highlander.
Even probably
What?
better than Tarzan, yeah.
Yeah.
No. He's
Oh,
way
in
better.
Highlander, he's a horrible actor.
Yeah, but it's just
Yeah,
Because
Yeah,
I literally had to
movie.
feed him his lines because he couldn't speak English. He's like,
Yeah, but
I've never understood why
that's
they
the
hired a
that's-
Frenchman or whatever he was to play a Scottish man.
that's the problem with Mortal Kombat, though, is Christopher Lambert plays Connor McLeod in that. And it's just like, and anytime I watch it, it's like you're in the wrong movie, dude. You're not. That's not
I don't
Highlander.
know, man. He's probably the best part
I'm
of
Connor
it.
McLeod of the
What?
Clan McLeod. I'm over 500 years old.
No, the guy who played Liu Kang was the best part of that fucking movie. Are you kidding me?
There's
He was
probably
Yeah.
He
it
was
was
fucking
probably
great.
Liu Kang? Yeah. I was going to
What's his-
say,
What's the guy? What's his name? Like he looked spot on to the character.
I was going to say Shao Kahn, but yeah.
No, not
Yeah,
Shao Kahn's the villain.
your soul is mine.
He's mine. Yeah, he's the best part of the movie, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, him too. Him too.
Flawless victory.
He
Yeah,
was
that's
he was
true.
good too.
And a Scotsman to play a Spanish guy. That's true. I was
I'm
the casting.
Egyptian.
Oh, and Dan Blackroyd, Clancy Brown is the best Lex Luthor. He's the best.
He's the best voice of Lex Luthor, but
I was
No,
going to say,
no.
Gene
we have a
Hackman.
little argument to go there with it.
No. Clancy Brown's way better than Gene Hackman. I'm sorry.
No.
Land.
Okay, you know what? Like
Otis Berg.
you know how people say fucking Kevin Conroy's the best Batman. Well, Clancy Brown's the best Lex Luthor. There you go.
It's just an itty bitty place. Otis Berg.
Famous
Just-
Tessmacher.
She's got her own place. Otis Berg.
Yeah, well, at least Clancy Brown's Lex Luthor is a businessman.
Look, I'll
Yeah.
swipe it off.
Real estate.
Oh, you must have put in the wrong numbers. I see my long arm wasn't long enough. You want to see a long arm, Otis? You want to see a long arm?
See, Victor Fontaine gets it. He is the best Lex.
Nah.
Clancy Brown.
Nah.
Yes.
I can't. I will say
How-
he's a
how-
great Lex Luthor, but I
No.
cannot say that.
Destroy Superman.
How is Gene Hackman a better Lex Luthor than Clancy?
Because he's
fucking
Gene
Brown?
fucking Hackman. That's all it
Exactly.
takes. It's just,
That-
and he's coming in hamming it up as Gene Hackman.
Listen, Gene Hackman is fucking great.
Bow, yield, kneel.
listen, Gene Hackman is a great Lex Luthor, but Clancy Brown is still
I gave
the
you
best.
Superman.
Are we going to add Sabbath, Mr. Luthor?
Lex Luthor, King of Australia.
But anyways,
why do you say these things to me when you know I will kill you for it?
Yes, Zod, I love that. Did you watch any of that, Runner? That
the Defenders? Kombat? Yeah, I watched like some. I think I watched some episodes of it. Like I'll say this: the intro's really badass. Like the music is good. Some of the characters are all right in this. I think the one character I did like in this really was Katana. I thought she was pretty good. Most of the other characters I just didn't care for them as much. Like Sub-Zero's in it. Like you have like most of your main characters. Johnny Cage isn't in this actually.
I always like to leave him out.
Yeah. Pick your feet in Poughkeepsie. Sorry, that's a wrong movie.
I was gonna say, why are you still talking?
That was from
that?
The French Connection.
Yes.
And okay, the thing that throws me off this whole entire thing, this is the worst part of this series, is they fly like each of the combatants like fly, like they fly, they use like these like hover pads and shit to like these little rocket ships to fly. It's like, that's not Mortal Kombat.
What
the fuck?
It is in this cartoon.
It is in this one.
see, that's the bullshit of it all. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a cartoon. It's still bullshit. And and I know people are gonna say, oh, and this is my other gripe: you should never make Mortal Kombat for kids. Never.
Well, let's be honest here, Runner. They made an Rainbow cartoon, a RoboCop cartoon, a Toxic Crusaders cartoon from Toxic Avengers. So there's a history of taking things that are like R-rated and turning them into kids' cartoons.
Yeah, but see, you can work around like RoboCop and shit. You can't do that with Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's more violent than any of those fucking things.
Did you know RoboCop shot a guy in the dick? So
yeah, and there's a lot more.
I don't think you see anybody in Mortal Kombat getting shot in the dick. So one up RoboCop.
Johnny Cage does a fucking nut punch on people.
Yeah, but he's not shooting them in the dick. So
yeah, but there's a lot. But there's a lot of other pretty violent shit in Mortal Kombat. More violent than anything in fucking RoboCop. And I like RoboCop.
I don't know about that.
You don't know? Are you fucking kidding? You are high as shit.
Don't move, creep, or I'll shoot you in the dick.
You are high as shit.
I'm just saying, man.
No. I'm
gonna tell you, I can't compare because I've only played like maybe 2 Mortal Kombat games. So
you don't need to compare them. Just watch like any.
I was gonna say, yeah. The sad part is of all of those, I think Toxic Crusader was probably the best of the cartoon.
I know, Toxic Crusaders.
Rambo wasn't half bad, but Rambo was kind of. It felt so nerfed.
But the thing about that is like. See, even that, like, you should never make a Rambo cartoon for kids. You just can't.
What was the Commando Elite?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
anything else is just a toy.
Same with same with Mortal Kombat. You should never make like Mortal Kombat for kids, because like one thing they do to Jax, like in the, like the actual like games, like he gets his arms ripped off. He actually has like human arms, but then he'll have this attachment of his robot arms, and he'll like he attaches them like he's fucking Iron Man.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Runner. Some of
Jack.
the shit I've seen is way worse than anything Mortal Kombat has ever shown.
What, Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm?
The movies I've seen shit that I guarantee you ain't seen. That's pretty fucking disgusting in horror movies and stuff. That's way worse than anything Mortal Kombat has ever done in anything.
Okay, there are probably things worse. I'm just saying, like, compared to the ones that you were bringing up, I'm like, no, Mortal Kombat has done like watch the just Greg, go on YouTube, go look up Mortal Kombat 9X or 11 fatalities.
I won't get on that, but let's
you need to, so I can prove my point.
Santana.
So I can prove my point, Greg. That's the only reason why I want you to watch it.
Helder Martin Acosta Santana, welcome, my friend.
You know what, Greg? How about this? We'll like do a pre-recorded video one time, and we're gonna get your reaction of all of the fatalities, and you have to rate them and how violent they fucking are. And
I rate them 1.
No, you have to actually fucking watch them.
But anyways, Macaroni Tony, welcome. That's a cool name. I'm going to watch it, but it's not looking good. But Tom, let's get on to you. So, what do you got for us for your first pick of the night?
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Let's see here. What do I got? Well, should I start with the newer one or the older one? Let's start with the newer one. Let's start with the 4K. I finally got a chance to check out Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Oh, I've heard that was really good.
Thought this was a steel book, but evidently it's not. It's just a special cover.
Oh.
So yeah, it's different than the other covers. The movie itself was decent, but it was a tad overhyped.
I liked it.
So unfortunately,
I saw it in the theater with a friend of mine.
There's a few points where it goes. There's a few bits and points where I just don't understand its logic, and I don't mean with the time traveling shit. Just it has to do with the woke business of the story. But outside of that,
I didn't see any of that. I don't know.
Well, I'd have to basically spoil the movie to get into that.
Okay.
Because this whole thing is predicated on the idea that her mother can't fucking accept the fact that she's gay. And she's hiding behind her own prejudice by using her grandfather.
Interesting. Well, it is A24. A24 horror movies are...
It's not really a horror movie.
It's not a horror
movie. Yeah, not horror movie, but it's
and the only other thing... Because I give it like a 7 out of 10. And the only other thing is I feel like they could have done a little bit more with the goofiness. Like, for instance, the whole idea is being able to tap into your multiverse selves, right? And in one multiverse, they have like hot dogs for fingers, right? For instance, and there's some other goofy multiverses. I wish they would have done more of that kind of stuff, just like with Doctor Strange. So on that level, yeah, it's a much better film than Doctor Strange, but it still has its issues. It's going to get nominated for a bunch of fucking Oscars. And honestly, outside of the special effects and certain things like that, to me, it's a very overhyped film, unfortunately. I did enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I did enjoy it. But don't go in expecting like it to completely blow your fucking world away, like I did, or you're not gonna have that.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like I'm sort of where you are, where it's like I don't want to say it's overhyped. I mean, kind of, but like I did really like it. I just didn't like it as much as like some people were saying it was. Like I enjoy it because like the friend I went with, he was like, "Oh, this is the best movie this year," and I'm just like,
yeah, exactly. I don't know about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, dude, like you still need to see The Northman, so I can't really say it's the best.
It's like with the A24.
I enjoyed The Northman more. Yes, sorry.
Oh yeah. No, and Top Gun Maverick is the best one this year so far.
I know it's not horror, but it is like an A24 film. I believe a lot of those A24 films are overblown. A lot of them are overblown.
I think A24, at least the ones I've seen, are pretty good.
I mean, I will say this much. I mean, you're both wrong. Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe is the best movie of the year.
It's one of the best.
Didn't say shit.
I didn't say that, but I agree.
I know. I just said you didn't say shit. So
Beavis and Butthead.
I haven't seen Top Gun yet, but I've seen Beavis and Butthead, and that movie was fucking awesome.
Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe is one of the best. It's not.
No, it is the best movie of the year.
It is one of the best. You know, it's the second best. How about I'll give you that.
No, it's the best movie of the year.
No.
It's the best sequel of the year too.
No.
Like with Indie Phantom here, he says the idea of multiverse just doesn't interest me. I'm kind of agree with that. I think the multiverse can be done in like a one and done type of story, but they do kind of.
That's kind of what this is.
What do you call Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe a sequel?
It is. To Do America. It's their second film.
I mean, I know it's their second film, but correlate that with the series. It's like, could you really call that a sequel if you're trying to tie it in with the series? Really?
Yeah, because so did the other. It had no. It actually had a lot more in common with the movie than it does this series, because like them getting away from Highland and all that kind of stuff was what the first movie was about. It's the same basic plot here. They're just going to get laid.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking plot. It's just the only difference is they go to space first.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's fucking genius and it's hilarious and it's still the highest rated film of the year on Rotten Tomatoes for critics.
That's surprising. I feel like
I know, right?
After seeing it, it's like especially.
But no, I did enjoy some of these things in the movie. Like Jamie Lee Curtis was a hell of a surprise. I didn't even know she was in the movie.
Know she was in it.
And she has a very major role, and she's really good in it. And she's chucked like just tons of makeup over her, but she's really good. And believe it or not, Ki-Hu Kwan is in this movie. Now, you should know who that is, even if you don't know the name.
I know who it is.
Yeah, I know who it is.
And you haven't seen him act in years, but he's really good in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that, of course, is the guy who played Short Round in Data.
Yep, Short Round.
In Goonies and Indiana Jones, respectively. And yeah, so those two aspects, those actors are the best part of the movie. Michelle Yeoh is okay.
You know that he was supposed to be in the Chicago event that I was at?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he was the first one to actually be a canceled guest, which sucks.
Oh, it sucks.
Because he was supposed to be like a part of the Goonies like panel, I think, or something like that.
I would imagine.
Yeah, because like a few of the other cast members for the Goonies were there.
Yeah, because Corey Feldman was there, and
I met Corey Feldman actually.
Yeah, I think most of the cast of Goonies would have been there if he'd have showed up.
Yeah,
because Sean Astin was already there too. You said so. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I wish I would have went, but I didn't have the money.
Yeah. Same here.
Sean Astin right there.
Yeah, so outside of Josh Brolin and the ladies, I mean, that's pretty much the main Goonies right there is Corey Feldman, Ki-Hu Kwan, and
I also met Jay.
Yeah, I seen Ords was talking with all those guys too. Did Kevin even fucking show up?
I saw Kevin. He was hiding though.
Yeah, I was gonna go, but I'm like, if I show up and say anything, they're gonna throw my ass out.
No, because the day Kevin was there, he was signing autographs, but he was hiding under like black curtains. Like they made a cube for himself,
Jesus
and he was literally. I'm gonna upload like a compilation like video. Like I recorded like some parts of
Who the fuck do you think he is?
building.
Fucking William Shatner?
Yeah, he had to hide from everybody.
No, so like Tom, when you watch my video, like I basically record like the whole like panel of like the celebrities, like where they sit to do autographs and stuff, and literally Kevin is like next to the Clerks crew, but he's like hiding. It's fucking hilarious. I was just like, damn. And then like the last day, which was Sunday, like I peeked in there a little bit and I saw Kevin Smith.
Who's the one who had the longest line of everybody there, though? I'm curious.
Kevin Smith had a pretty decent. He was pretty packed.
Mm.
Kind of. I mean, the Clerks guys, like they were the least expensive.
I'm talking about everybody there. Everybody.
Oh, everybody. Carl Weathers. He was sold.
I can see.
He was sold. I wanted to meet Carl Weathers, but he was sold out.
I was wondering if Gina or one of those people would be one of the more longer ones, but yeah.
Oh, Gina was canceled. That's why. She was a canceled guest last minute.
No wonder Jay didn't go. That makes sense. I didn't see that. I wasn't keeping up with everything either, so.
Yeah, no, because Gina put a message out on Twitter saying that she couldn't go to Chicago and was like bummed out about that. Yeah, it kind of sucked. Like Carl Weathers, I think, like because I wanted to meet him on like the Sunday one, but I ended up it ended up getting sold out. So I met Corey Feldman instead, and he had no line. Which, yeah, that ain't good. So I met him. He was pretty cool.
Wonder if he even covered his costs. Poor guy.
That sucks.
But Jay,
go ahead, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was it. I haven't really nothing much else to say about the movie. It's decent. I can understand why people enjoyed it.
It's good. It's not my favorite. I think like Tom said, I enjoy it. I just don't think it's like the best.
It's almost my biggest issue and gripe with it is I said it was like almost it was woke despite itself and it didn't need to be, and it convolutes the ending of the film because the ending of the movie lasts for too long and they keep making the same point like over and over again. And
I guess my one gripe, and maybe Tom will agree with me, is I think the movie was a little too long than it should have been.
There's that too. Well, that's the thing, is the ending like really drags on because you have like the same ending twice, right? You have the part where they're rocks and they have their moment.
Oh yeah.
And you go from that and it just like it goes right back to things that were going on before, and it was like, wait a minute, this doesn't make no sense for a minute, and then it goes back to the ending again, and you get the whole convoluted business about it's all about her not accepting her for who she is, kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, okay. But did you have to really make it all about that and kind of thing? It was just kind of silly.
I get you.
It could have been a bit better, a bit more focused. Other than that, I enjoyed it. I just I can't recommend it as much as most people do, but I do still recommend it. The special effects are amazing, right? Like this probably has some of the best special effects of this type since probably Inception.
Nice.
Yeah, the visuals are really, really good.
I cannot knock the visuals at all. Yeah.
Wasn't this one of the more expensive A21?
Yeah, but it was a pretty big sleeper hit of the year. So I mean,
didn't it do well?
Yeah, it didn't open big, but it stayed steady. Like it had like no drop for like 6-7 weeks straight or something like that. I can't remember how many.
No, because it was in my matinee for quite a while.
Yeah.
When it was playing, because I hadn't heard about it much until like word of mouth went out there, and then like my friend, like after we saw Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness in the theater, we were like, next week we should just go watch that Everything Everywhere All at Once, just because it sounds like a better movie. So we did, and then it was like, yeah, this is a way better fucking
The best
movie.
way I can explain it is it's an art house movie with a very commercial premise, cast, and palatability, I guess. Like most normies are going to be able to watch this and not feel like they watched some art house movie, but it is kind of an art house movie.
Yeah.
It has all those tropes. It has all the pretentiousness of one. So yeah, if you ever see it, Greg, you'll probably know exactly what I mean by that, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like how Magnolia with raining fucking frogs. It's all kind of shit.
I'd be interested to see what Greg thinks about it. I think you'd enjoy it, actually.
I said I'm a hit and miss with H24. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, and like indie thing, Phantom here said he likes A24, but they have their heads up their butt sometimes.
I will say this: there's some cool
like
gore
that.
effects. It's not a horror movie, but there is some gore in it, and the gore effects and the other effects kind of around that shit are kind of cool. It has like, if you want to, like, the best thing I can kind of pick a close enough tone to this movie is Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Oh, really?
Like, it has that kind of a tone. It has a very dark, tongue-in-cheek tone to it, but unfortunately it has a bit of a because just like with Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, the difference between Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey, outside of just the little tonal shift, is that Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is a bit more of an angrier film, right? Like, it's still fun, it's still light, it still has, all the elements that made Bill and Ted, but it does have a bit of an angrier skew to it. And if you've seen my interview with what's his face, one of the writers, no, I just forgot his name, Ed.
Yeah, I can't think of his name too, but
Ed Sullivan, yeah. He said flat out, like, when they wrote that, he had just gotten into a divorce. He didn't really want to make the movie. There was all these things that were kind of going against him. So that anger kind of fed its way into the script, right? And so that's kind of what I feel like here. Is it feels like somebody was working something out that was very angry, because the story is not directed enough, right? The emotions in the story are not directed enough, and they're trying to tell this very convoluted story, which only works if your message is a little bit more succinct and simple at the end. And the message ends up being what I just said earlier, and to me, that just kind of undercuts what the movie should be. Because it even undercuts itself, because it's basically, I'm like, no, it sounds to me like more like you're using your mother as a crutch for you just being a bitch. Because then at the end, it just kind of doesn't matter, because they tell her grandfather, and he doesn't give a shit. But see, the whole thing is it's kind of predicated on this whole movie's idea of her, Michelle Yeoh's guilt is from her leaving her father to begin with against his wishes and marrying Ki-Hu Kwan, right? Like, that's, so the whole idea of the story basically is surrounded around the idea that this is the worst version of herself. It's the worst version of her husband. And it's supposedly one of the worst versions of her kid, only that's not true, because we find out her kid is the one who's destroying all of existence And so these other versions from other dimensions come and they need her help because she's no good at anything. She's never finished anything. So she's the most malleable of all the versions of her out there. Right. Because what they do is they'll pull in attributes and traits from their other multiverse version. So like, let's say like a lot of the time they're pulling, like she has a version of her that's a Kung Fu master. So she'll use that one a lot. Right.
Mm.
So like she'll just call upon that one, and then it's like kind of this little like electronic thing they have in their ear, and like and then just she'll use different talents from different versions of herself. Same thing with Ki Hu Kwan's character and her daughter's character, who's kind of wrapped up in the whole thing too. And it's and I'm giving so much of it away. It's kind of ruining some of the story, and I'm sorry, but it is kind of it kind of telegraphs itself a lot in that respect. So, I mean, I didn't really feel like there was any major surprises in it, but I did. It was good. I just wish I could recommend it more, like more people enjoyed it. I'm glad it sounds like you had a lot more fun with it, Runner, but I'm done with it now. Sorry, I'll shut up.
No, that's fine. I like it, not as much as like, I'm not going to say I liked it as much as everyone else, because like my friend is like on like the majority where he's like, oh, this is the best one of the year, where it's like, nah. I like it. It's probably in the top 5 so far, but it's not the best.
I'll have to give it a watch. I don't know. Like I said,
because
that's something I've been wanting to run out and see, but I've heard people.
It could have been a funnier movie. That's the problem. Is the setup is there, right? And they do have fun with it.
Yeah.
But like for instance, the whole way to trigger your other version of self's, consciousness into your body is you have to do something that's improbable.
And I'll say this.
And so there's some hilarious shit that comes out of that.
And I'll say this. I didn't see the woke stuff in it really as much as Tom did.
Well, it's really just that one bit, right? It's just that bit. It's because so much is kind of predicated on that one little bit, which is what makes it woke. If it wasn't for that, it wouldn't be woke.
It's the one bit with the daughter, because I don't know, it didn't feel like it was like pushed in there really hard or anything, so maybe that's just me.
No, and again, it doesn't really even start it's the one part in the beginning, but for some reason I could kind of feel like it was coming, and then all of a sudden when it did come, I'm like, yep, I knew it. I kind of expected it in a way too, so
I mean, I didn't really care that she had a girlfriend or anything. I was just like, whatever.
No, and her mother clearly didn't either. She was worried. That's the thing is, there's this point in the movie where her daughter blames this whole thing on her not being able to accept it and hiding behind her father instead of just admitting it that she is the problem. And it's like, no, that is not the case. She's not hiding it. She's just worried about disappointing her father more, because this whole story is predicated on that idea. And then at the end, like I said, she is the one that tells her against her own daughter's wishes. And then the grandfather's like, okay, and kind of thing. It kind of doesn't make it worth it in the end. Like the whole thing kind of just falls apart in that respect, when it really should have just been more about the idea that she is not there. She is the worst version of herself. And the reason this world is so bad to her is because of her not finishing anything or doing anything, not being as good a wife as she could have been, not being as good a daughter as she could have been, not being as good a mother as she could have been, right? I thought that was the better whole idea of the movie, was to say, look, you got to finish something in your life. You got to keep trying, right? You can't just give up on everything, because that's kind of what she's doing in the beginning of the movie. And so that should be the message by the end, if that's what you're kind of trying to project here onto this. And it's just really more of it feels like at the end when they bring that up, it feels like I'm watching a Maury Povich episode. Because, it's all predicated on because my mom thinks you can't accept me because I'm gay. Like, it's like, no, that's not what it's really about. And that's not even the case here, because she really does, because that's what the whole movie's hung up on, is that she loves her daughter and she can't kill her own daughter, right? Because the other versions of herself and her other versions of her husband keep telling her that's what she's got to do, right, to end this whole thing. And it's like this really convoluted mess. And yeah, it's just, there's even a universe where their daughter doesn't exist, and like they don't even get into that too much either. And it's like, well, why don't they just kind of get into that kind of an idea? Why is it that, and of course that's the version of the world where they both have the best lives, but they're not together and all this shit. Now I'm giving away the whole movie, but anyway.
Yes. But
so it kind of goes against its own messaging is what I'm trying to say. Like, it has a very it doesn't feel it's very focused in that respect.
I get you. I'll check it out, but like I said, it's not on my top priority to view list.
Jet Li does not show up to my knowledge.
Well, if you've seen the new Scream movie, you can definitely see this movie, Greg.
It took me forever to see that new Scream movie, and
you might like it more than I did because I just, like I said, once I saw that through line peeking in, I knew it.
I feel like you would. I feel like you'd like it more than you think, Greg.
Like I said, it's on my list to watch things, but it's not one of my top priorities. So
it's definitely worth a Black Friday pickup. I'll say.
Yeah, I may do that. So
well,
I'll get to it.
I'll say this: like, it's not as much of a priority as watching Top Gun Maverick. Like that should be anyone's like one priority because that honestly I enjoyed that movie more than everywhere we were going.
I like the one. The one was a good movie with Jet Li.
No, I talked about this movie longer than I planned on. So what do you got going on?
Okay, I'll go into my movie.
I got you.
I'll slow it down a bit with some 80s horror. And I bought this a while back, and I finally got a chance to watch it. And that would be The Burning. Boom.
That's one I've been wanting to see for years, and I don't know if I have that one.
Shopsy. I love this movie. This movie is great. This movie had potential to rival the Friday the 13th franchise. Yes, I'm saying it. I believe it could have. Very well believe it could have rivaled it. It's a great, fun movie. If you're a fan of the Friday the 13th franchise, you will be a fan of this movie. Since, Tom, you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil a whole lot of this for you. But I'll start with this beginning here. Essentially, it starts at the beginning of the movie. It's just at this summer camp, and these kids are going to play a prank on the groundskeeper, Chopsy, because they hate him. He's a jerk. He's a prick. They don't like him, so they're going to pull a prank on him. So they go to pull the prank on him, and they have this like skull candle. They put it on his by his bed where he's sleeping, and they light it up. And they knock on his window to wake him up because they want him to see it and scare him. And he knocks it off, and catches his bed and himself and his house on fire, and he takes off running, and he's all on fire. He falls into the water. Cuts to 5 years later, he's released from the hospital, goes to a new camp, and it's very, very reminiscent of Jason. But where this movie really succeeds is it has great characters. So when it gets to the point when the killing starts happening, because that's what's going to happen, you don't want to see these characters go, or you want to see certain ones get taken out, because it really does really great on building the characters. And this is one of the few where it's not a final girl, it's a final guy. So I don't want to give too much more away, especially for anybody who has not seen this. But if you've never seen The Burning, check it out. I loved it. It was great. It had some great comedy bits, great characterization, a great villain, great nudity.
Did you see it recently?
What?
Did you see it recently or a while ago?
Yeah, I just watched it.
Oh, that's cool.
I bought this like a few months back, and I finally got a chance to watch it because I've never actually seen it all the way, and I've heard people talk about it. I was so glad I got this,
dude,
and because it is so good.
Would you recommend it to me? Just curious.
What, The Burning?
Yeah.
Did you like Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
Then you would like this.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because I have the Friday the 13th box set, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, here's the Indie Phantom says, I would say The Burning is better than the original Friday the 13th. It's pretty damn close to that first Friday the 13th movie. I tell you what, they could have sequeled the shit out of this movie if they would have succeeded. It did have some stuff against it, which I'll tell you about here in a second. Tyrell, if you ever get a chance to see it. I think the biggest, besides the box office, is this was a Miramax film, and it was written by Bob Weinstein from a story from Harvey Weinstein. So,
wait, The Burning is a Miramax?
Yes, it's a Miramax film from MGM, and it was a story by Harvey Weinstein, and it was written by Peter Lawrence and Bob Weinstein. So that's got it's got those strikes against them, but you can't fault like the director and the actors for those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a really good. I mean, I love this movie. I didn't expect to love it so much, but I loved it. It was great.
I mean, a lot
like
of
I said,
I mean, a lot of the Miramax stuff that I've seen are like some of my favorites, honestly.
well, this was like before Miramax was like Miramax, because this is from
Like
1981.
Oh, wow. So like before the Tarantino stuff. Okay.
Yeah, this is like MGM put it out, but it's got the Miramax thing in it, part of it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
So not the Tarantino, Kevin Smith, Robert Rodriguez days. All right.
Yes, and Tom Savini does the special makeup effects in this. He actually, I believe, didn't he quit one? I think he didn't do Friday the 13th part.
Which one? Savini?
Yeah, Savini. He does the special makeup effects.
I think 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, I believe he left. He left 5 for this one.
Yeah,
or no, this one was
pretty
done
sure he did 4.
No.
He may have done 5,
yeah.
but I don't think he did anything after that.
He did this one after the first Friday the 13th film.
Okay,
that's what he did. He did this one after that. Yeah.
Well, this is one, I believe it or not, I do not have.
You don't have this? Mm-mm. This is the Scream Factory one. I know there is. I know Arrow has one out from across the pond. It's Arrow that never been released, and this is the Scream Factory set that I have. So, yeah, if you can separate the art from the artist, I mean, I know that some people can't with the Weinsteins and stuff, but don't worry about that. Just enjoy the movie, because if you love the Friday the 13th franchise, especially like the first couple, you'll love this movie. I loved it. Man, I wish they would. That's what it was. That's one he skipped out on. Thank you, Indie Film. He skipped out on part 2 for this one.
Oh, okay.
I believe that's what he did. Yeah. And the special effects are great. Chopsy is the name of the killer. He kills people with garden shears, big garden shears. So like that's his signature weapon. And it was really good. Oh, and it has Fisher Stevens is in this. What's his name is in it from Seinfeld. What's his name from Seinfeld? The short fat guy.
Oh, Jason Alexander. See, here's the thing: the more you've talked about this, I feel like I may have actually seen this years and years and years ago.
You probably have.
Especially now that you say that Jason Alexander's in it.
Yeah, Jason Alexander's in it. Fisher Stevens is in it. Holly Hunter is in it, but for the life of me, I couldn't recognize which girl she was because she's not got a big role.
Yeah, I got this in my Amazon thing, but I haven't got the money right now. But I'll eventually pick it up here. But, I went and spent way too much on that Kino Lorber sale. You have no idea.
I think it's still going on. I think they brought it back.
I was going to say, I thought it ended on the 6th, but all right, great.
Yeah,
I think
they brought it back.
I think the Criterion sale is still going on in Amazon.
Unfortunately, I already got a lot of those, but
I don't have any Criterion, so I gotta start saving my money on those, and maybe the Kino sale if it's still going on. But
and
I blew most of my money recently,
and I'm feeling kind of burnt with some of the Criterion ones I bought because they are expensive no matter what they are.
Yeah,
and then they're turning around and they're doing 4K of a lot of the ones they did Blu-rays of not too long ago. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm kind of, and I was reluctant, and then I bought some of them on like the last sale, and then all of a sudden now some of them are, and I knew it as soon as I bought them. Like I usually say it to
that they would come out like that.
Like most of the Criterion ones on sale right now are going for like 20 to 25.
Yeah, which is not bad. That's pretty good. But
I'm like I'll get it if it's like 25 at least.
Like I ended up getting a pretty good deal. Like I did get the sale price, I think, on Raging Bull, for instance.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So I got the 4K, I think, for either 20 or 25. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, because like that fucker, like in the regular price was like 50. It's like that's insane.
Mm-hmm. Well, what pissed me off is there was somebody on some like seller on Amazon who was undercutting Kino's sale prices. But if you weren't paying attention, they were also charging like $5 a pop for shipping. So there was like 2 or 3 titles I ended up ordering before I realized that. Because I'm like, I can get them cheaper on Amazon right now. Yeah, well, luckily it was ones that I didn't lose out too much because luckily it was just the 4K version of In the Heat of the Night, and I can't remember what the other one was, but like so I was like, okay, well, I didn't get too screwed. It was like $3 difference, but yeah.
You also got Shaft, right?
That was on Criterion. That one cost me $40.
Oh,
That's what kind of pissed me off about that one. Is like, yeah, that price went down on that one. I was pissed. But I got the 2 movies, so I didn't feel so ripped off when I got it. Like, at least I got the 2 movies in the package to where, and that movie I ended up loving so much that it, like, I'm glad that, whatever.
That's always a plus. So when you spend when you kind of I spent $40, but then you're like, oh, okay, it's worth it. And when you like it.
And the second movie being in there was a complete and utter surprise to me.
So yeah, that's a good deal. But if you guys ever want to see The Burning, I highly recommend The Burning. It's a great film. The best way I can describe it is, it just slipped my mind the name of the camp movie with Bill Murray. What's the name of that movie?
Oh, Meatballs.
Meatballs. It's Meatballs meets Friday the 13th. That's what this movie is.
I love Meatballs.
This movie is Meatballs
Especially
meets Friday the 13th.
On spaghetti. Are you ready for the summer? Are you ready to get killed?
Exactly. You could literally put parts of that movie into the Meatballs movie as franchise, and it would blend in.
So it's basically Nature Trail to Hell in 3D.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You never heard that Weird Al song?
No.
Oh.
Well, if you sing it, I probably would.
Coming this Christmas to a theater near you, the most horrifying film to hit the screen.
No, I don't think I've ever heard this
homicidal maniac who finds a Cub Scout troop, and he hacks off 2 or 3 in every scene. So bring the kids along, it's good, clean family fun. What have you got to lose? If you like the 6 o'clock news, then you'll like Nature Trail to Hell. Nature Trail to Hell. Nature Trail to Hell in 3D. It's an awesome fucking song.
That's I've never heard that Weird Al song. I'll have to check it out. But technically, other than the Scout thing, that's essentially
see the most horrifying effects you'll ever see until Nature Trail to Hell Part 3 or something like that. It's like
fuck you almost blew my ears up.
Good. Sorry, I'll turn down my thing a little bit. Here, hang on. Is that better? Am I not so loud now?
Sound good. Any Phantom, have a good one. Enjoy your lunch. Glad you're here. I don't think I've seen you here before, so glad you was here.
Seika is telling me to shut up.
I know. The Burning 2. Love the first one.
Is there a Burning 2?
No, there's only one Burning. I think he was.
I was gonna say I thought there was only one.
The Indie Phantom,
but it didn't get 20 sequels out of that. Yeah,
it's one that really could have.
Shh! Don't tell anybody, Six. That's my secret.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always karaokeing.
I always got my microphone ready.
That was pretty funny, Greg.
I know, but that's it. If you get it. I would like to hear. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, Tom. When if you get it and see it, because it's worth a watch. It's an unsung gem of the '80s horror movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll definitely check that one out.
Alrighty, Runner, what do you got for us for your second pick?
All right, so for my second pick, it's a comic book film. It's I'm pretty sure you both have seen this movie.
Never seen it.
Yeah, I doubt it. It's a steelbook. It's distributed by Sony. It's actually a really cool steelbook, not gonna lie. I've seen the movie before, but I haven't seen what it looks like on 4K. I probably imagine it doesn't look too much of a difference. And it's directed by how do you say his name? Guillermo
del Toro.
Yeah. Guillermo del Toro. Yeah.
Hellboy 3.
It's Hellboy, the first one.
Hellboy.
I like Hellboy.
It's pretty good looking steelbook.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
And it's a good movie. I like it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was 4K. The first one.
Yeah, I got the first and the second one in 4K. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I still haven't.
The first two.
I still haven't seen the second one, and they made a third one.
Well, no, it's not a third one. It's the
remake.
The remake or whatever it is.
I've got that
with the guy from Stranger Things, which was poorly cast in that.
See, when he was cast in that role, I was like, that's not a bad casting. Like I said that, like when he was cast as Hellboy, and then I heard bad reviews from the movie, so I just didn't go watch it.
He's better at the tortured, a sheriff hero like person, not so much bad guy, or not bad guy, but like Hellboy type character.
He was one of the best parts of Black Widow.
Yeah, from what I've seen, yeah.
He was he was kind of forgettable in that, in my opinion. I didn't care so much for him.
Actually, a lot of the clips that I've seen is like people still use his stuff, so like I think he made a pretty big impression on that.
Well, I don't know. I remember finding him kind of stupid in that movie. He wasn't like the worst part in that, but it is a great movie, Tyrell.
I like the first. I enjoy the first Hellboy, and the second one's pretty darn good too. I didn't even know that if I knew there was on 4K, I would have bought that.
This was the only one at my Best Buy when I got it.
Oh, you know what? Everybody, drop it in the chat. Fuck your Best Buy. Drop it in the chat.
Greg's jealousy.
Fuck Runners Best Buy.
Yeah.
And I'll say this:
I need to make a clip of that with Tom saying that. So
Do you need it more
play
cleaner?
that every time you bring it up.
No, the inside artwork is pretty lame. It's just a red tint.
Fuck Runner. Now you talk. Fuck Runners Best Buy. Yeah, fucking do it.
Fucking in the butt.
I'm gonna have to clip that, and
That
I'm
was
gonna make a video. Every time he brings it up, I'm gonna play it. But yes,
Well,
I
fuck
do like
you too, Dan Blackroyd, you fucking Australian.
I do like Hellboy. It's a good movie. So you haven't watched the 4K yet?
No, I haven't. I
imagine
don't
it
know.
looks.
What was it? Was it shot in digital, Tom? Do you know?
I think Guillermo likes to use actual. What do you call it?
Film?
Yes, film. My mind is like gone tonight. It's like gone to mush. Yes, I think Guillermo likes to use actual film and things, but I'm not sure if it's been shot digital or not.
I'm just wondering.
It probably might have been because there is some CGI in it and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't do CGI in actual film and stuff, but like, I mean, that's why I'm asking. It's because of all the special effects and shit. By the way, I agree, 6. I love Best Buy too.
I used to
too, but my Best Buy's got like one little thing and it don't have shit anymore. So
my Best Buy is still hanging in there. Hasn't let me down yet.
My Best Buy let me down years ago.
Brian Barth.
Brian Barth. No, it's the 2000 and what year was that first one? It's not 2019.
Was it 2003? Let me look.
A long time ago. 2000s, early 2000s.
Hellboy. 2004.
I feel 2004. There you go. The 2019 one was with the guy from Stranger Things. Ron Perlman. As much as I can't stand Ron Perlman anymore, he's a better Hellboy than David Harbour.
Did you see the new Hellboy, Greg?
No, I have no interest in that. But I've seen of it.
I don't either. But like, yeah, I mean, Ron Perlman is a good Hellboy. He's not a very good person though. I'll say that much. And you know what's funny? He was like. He was at the Fan Expo too, only for Sunday, and I didn't see anyone wanting to meet him. It's fucking hilarious.
Brandon Brad says, JB Hi-Fi down here, get loads of physical media. All right, Brandon Brad. Sounds like a cool story.
But Ron Perlman was only there because of the Sons of Anarchy shit.
Yeah. Oh, well, probably other stuff too, but yeah.
I mean, he was listed as like the guy from Hellboy as well, but like he was mainly there just because a few of the other guys from Sons of Anarchy were there.
I agree, Dan Blackroyd, that the second Hellboy is a bit Pan's Labyrinth. Can you speak? Yeah, it is. It's a good movie.
Well, Pan's Labyrinth was also Del Toro, right?
Yes.
Okay. And does anyone know if that Nightmare Alley movie was good that he directed?
I've heard I've
thought about getting in. I've heard good things about it, but I'm kind of waiting for Black Friday.
Yeah, me too. Because
I
remember seeing a trailer for it when I was watching a movie last year, and I was like, "Oh, this movie looks pretty good."
It's actually a remake. I do believe.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, but like the trailer looked really fucking
Yeah,
good.
I've heard actually a lot of people liked it, so it's kind of like one of them under radar type things.
Yeah,
But like Tom, I
that,
think I'll wait till like Black Friday
like-
before I watch it.
but that got some like Oscar nominations.
Did it?
Yeah, I think it was nominated for Best Picture.
I don't watch the Oscars, so.
Oh, I know. Most people only watch because of the slap.
But that's a good pickup runner, and I wish I would have known those in 4K because I would buy them. I'm going to have to look them up.
Yeah,
Runner may have costed me some money.
You can probably look it up. You can still probably get it, I bet.
I don't technically need the steelbook. If I can just get a 4K copy of it, I'm cool.
That steelbook is pretty bitchin', I'm not gonna lie.
It looks pretty cool.
Like the art cover is really, really cool.
Except I don't like when they do the no design.
Yeah, I think I got it for like $10 or $15 on 4K and just the regular.
That's a good deal.
That's about the same price I got.
Yeah.
I got it for
But I've had mine for like 2 years now.
Oh, the 4K.
Shit, where was I when this came out on 4K? I'm usually in the know of all
For
this.
Sony, it was one of their earlier titles.
I'm gonna put them in my cart. Check them out.
And Universal has the second one for some reason in that one. And then Lionsgate has the third one. Well,
Yes. Rights issues.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, Lionsgate.
Well, it's because the second one cost like twice as much as the first one. So, like, Sony didn't want to pay for it, and then Universal picked it up.
Yeah. And then sadly, it didn't make money, so you won't get to finish out that trilogy.
Nah.
So.
Well, more so Guillermo del Toro. I mean, I'm sure they probably would have let him make a third one. He just wanted to do too much, probably, and took too long.
It's true. It's true.
He runs on his own schedule.
I know he's been working on In the Mountains of. Oh, what is it? H.P. Lovecraft story. Everybody's copying
Madness or whatever. In the mountains. Is it Mountains
In the Mountains of Madness?
In the Mouth of Madness.
That was the John Carpenter one, but yeah, that John Carpenter one and In the Mouth of Multiverse of Madness is all sort of based off of that H.P. Lovecraft story. Which Guillermo del Toro is supposed to.
Nightmare Alley's on Hulu right now. Sorry.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Guillermo del Toro was actually supposed to make that movie with Tom Cruise. So.
What movie?
In the Mountains of In the Mountains of Madness. That's what it's called. It's an H.P. Lovecraft story called In the Mountains of Madness.
Oh.
And it's a very daunting story from H.P. Lovecraft, and Guillermo del Toro is supposedly working on it for like 20 years. And at one point in time, he had Tom Cruise and Paramount on board to make it, but then it fell apart again. So, because the problem is the story. Here's the thing: the story with H.P. Lovecraft is they don't typically have happy endings. And he's trying to stay as true to the story as he can. And the studios want him to have like a big action spectacle, happy ending type movie is why he can't get it made. So it's a very daunting story to bring to the screen. Yeah. I think that's why Tom Cruise ended up backing out of it, because like he didn't want to have the ending his character would have. But anyways, Tom, let's move on to you. What do you got for us for your second pick of the night?
Oh, it's my second pick. Well, we're going to head on over to Minnesota. And in the lovely state of Minnesota, there's this little place called Mill Creek. And at Mill Creek, they like to release movies, let's say. And one of the more latest ones they released is a Universal semi-classic called King Ralph, starring John Goodman, in their classic VHS case, which is good because God knows, I swear they're trying.
They're horrible.
To make the worst fucking covers
inserts.
ever.
Their inserts are horrible.
It's like, just use this, man. What the fuck?
Exactly.
Anyway, so I've not seen this movie in God, maybe 20, 50, at least 25 years, maybe 20 years at least. I used to have the video back in the day. And I know you were a little excited when that one was announced too, Greg. Now, the transfer-wise, it's not the best of transfer. It's
I should have figured that one.
it's a
I
typical
haven't watched
Mill
mine
Creek,
yet. So.
middle of the road, probably from 10 years ago for cable transfer.
Oh boy.
There's not even a trailer here. But the movie itself does not hold up as well as I recall. But of course, I was a kid when it came out, and so were you. And
yeah,
as a kid's movie, it works. But the problem, it takes itself too seriously to be a kid's movie. And as I'm watching it, I'm just like, you know what? This movie would have been perfect for like John Candy or Chris Farley. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't written for John Candy, because it feels like somebody said, what if Uncle Buck found out he was the King of England?
Yeah.
It's true, pretty much the story. And unfortunately with Goodman is he's too smart of a person and he can't play dumb well enough in this to where it works for somebody like John Candy, who has that, like, you know, goofy innocence about him. And same thing with Chris Farley. John Goodman doesn't have that spark to him, or at least he's not allowing that to come through here. And that really kills the mood of the film, because otherwise the story and the jokes are so just basic and predictable, and the story is very predictable. And again, it's not a horrible film, but it didn't age well. There's nothing overly wrong with it per se, outside of, unfortunately, the worst part is Goodman's performance. And I don't think it's his fault so much as the script's fault. I think the script didn't know what it should have done with him. And I think he was just miscast here in a sense.
I agree with that.
Yeah, the spotted dick joke, yeah.
Yeah, that's about a dick joke. I remember that. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember liking the movie when I was young. Yeah, so I have to, when I get a chance to watch it.
Well, you don't think of John Goodman as a bumbling doofus? Like, that's where I say Chris Farley would have been perfect.
Yeah, I agree with you. Chris Farley or, like you said, John Candy. So,
yeah, because John Goodman was never one whoever really played a lot of the bumbling doofuses. Like, the closest otherwise was Fred Flintstone, and there he was just playing Fred Flintstone. So it was, you know.
You know what's funny? I'm looking this up to see if, like you said, if it was originally written for somebody else. And I found one of these things, like 10 things you probably didn't know about King Ralph, and one of the first things it says was Bill Murray was originally considered as the lead.
Yeah, maybe a little bit better choice. Because John Goodman, especially at that time, was most known for being on Roseanne and playing heavies prior to that. Most of his, because, you know, he was like the bad coach in Revenge of the Nerds. He was one of the guys who broke out of prison in Raising Arizona. Like, those were some of his biggest roles before Roseanne. And then after Roseanne, he kind of got this image of the sweet, perfect husband, working class husband, perfect kind of dad kind of thing, to where, you know, it didn't
like your everyday
translate. Man. Yeah, it didn't translate here. Like, it would almost been like trying to have Tim Allen in it or something. It just kind of comes off wrong.
Tim Allen actually might have worked, maybe.
Yeah, Tim Allen might even have been a bit better, but then you would have just went with the more misogyny thing. But here it's just, because they try to paint him as a beer swilling, stripper loving, you know, lounge singer. And yeah, you can tell why that's probably why he's a lounge singer. That makes more sense. It was probably more like Bill Murray's Lounge Lizard. See, that's the kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's not a very likable guy in the beginning. And that's the thing is, John Goodman plays him too likable at first.
Yeah.
And
you don't really get to feel that he's the stripper loving, beer swelling that guy, like you said. You don't really get, especially once it starts getting into the story and he starts romancing the stripper. It's like he's like, this
they don't
like
have the best chemistry either. Yeah, they don't have the best chemistry either. And the story comes off, I'll be honest, it comes off like a 12-year-old wrote it, which is sad because I think it was S.S. Wilson who wrote and directed this, who of course worked on or David S. Ward is actually part of it too. So it's same people who worked on like Tremors and the movie we just talked about last week, the Souls movie, Heart and Souls.
Heart and Souls, yeah.
Yeah,
so that explains why that was released at the same time.
Yeah, well, it's just like, it's kind of like, wow, you know, like that they missed the mark here with this one, I tell you. Wow. I mean, I always enjoyed the movie. Like you said, I've seen a while, but I totally get all the complaints you're coming with that. Yeah, totally. I wish it would have aged better, though. Yeah, it just didn't age as well.
It's like we said earlier. He bombed on the big screen.
Movies, you can see why it got the bad bad criticism from the critics when it came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Though I do remember, I don't know if like I said, I haven't seen it in a while, and not to keep bringing up boobs all the time, but I do remember that you almost got to see her nipples there for a minute when she was stripping.
Close as you come. It's a PG movie, and that's the thing, is it feels like a kid's movie. But there's so many other bits of it that are kind of taken so seriously when it comes to like the England stuff, and there's too many parts where for a kid, I mean, I remember enjoying it as a kid, but I was also like 10 or 11 when this came out.
Yeah.
Maybe 12 at the most. Like, not even, I don't think, because it came out in 91, so I'd have been about 11. But like, yeah, like I just remember, I remember like the Burger King tie-in with it and everything like that. And they, of course, that scene's in the movie here. It's like to remind me of that. Of course, it's right on the cover. He's got the Whopper.
Well, apparently when I was reading over the 10 things you didn't know,
there's the King Whopper thing deal, I think, if I remember right.
John Goodman used to do Burger King commercials, and so that's sort of a nod.
That's right, yeah. And they even had like the King Whopper, I think it was, to go along with the movie, if I remember right.
Yep. But I mean, it's still I still worth to have in my collection, even though it didn't age well.
Sadly, no. And it's also one of those reasons why John Goodman was never a leading man actor after that either, because this is like his only big, huge starring role, and then after that he went back to the the supporting roles again. Yeah. Well, but it's good to know. It's good to know that that's yeah. But because the Flintstones was the only other big thing he really did after that, other than his. I mean, he's done bigger movies. He's been in bigger movies, but he's not the star.
Yeah, he's always been like the side guy. Then. Yeah.
And he always said that Steven Spielberg kind of suckered him into doing the Flintstones. I don't know if you ever heard that story. I doubt it. But
I don't think I have.
No, the quick version was, I can't remember if they were at the Oscars or some party or something or other, and Spielberg come up to John Goodman. He goes, "Hey, here's my Fred Flintstone. He's going to play Fred Flintstone in my movie." He was talking to somebody else, and John Goodman's like, "I am." And then he's like, "Well, you can't really say no to Steven Spielberg."
Yeah, I mean, when he's going up saying that to you. Oh, that's cool.
Because for those who may not remember, Spielberg produced that movie, but
yeah. Wasn't John Goodman in the Spielberg movie Always with Richard Dreyfuss?
Yes. So they were friends. So like, it's not like he didn't know him already. It was just, I'm sure with the telling of the story, he's trying to make it sound a little bit more whatever it was. But
I get you.
Oh, I know, he's great and all. Like, especially Lebowski's probably his best role ever. Damn right, because he's playing Milius in that movie.
Yeah. Am I the only one around here who's over the line?
This is not Vietnam. There are rules.
You got to admit, he was very memorable in that movie. Yes,
Indeed.
He was, because that does stand out in the movie. Damn, Donnie.
So is it Runner's turn now, or?
That's my turn.
Yeah. Big Lebowski. He was so good in that movie.
Yeah.
He was the best part, in my opinion.
He was. Okay, I guess I'll go to me. It's a bit of I typically don't bring a whole lot of my superhero stuff on here because I do have a lot of superhero stuff. But I brought this one on because I believe it or not, this is one of my favorite Marvel films. I put it up there with Captain America, Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy. And that would be Thor, the first Thor movie.
It's a good one.
I brought it on for a reason because I've seen all them clips where they were all like Mueller and them were putting out about
I saw
the first Thor movie, and I was like, I have not seen the first Thor movie in forever. And this is it's not 4K, but it's the
I don't
original.
think I've ever seen that cover.
Exactly. That's why it's another one. Yeah.
I like that.
This is the original Paramount release of Thor.
I would say I have the 3D version, but it doesn't have a cover like that. It's got a different cover on it.
It's got Thor's first appearance on the back.
Oh, nice. So it's like a special edition. That's
yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. I love this movie. I really, truly do.
Oh, okay. The inside's the same cover.
Yeah, the inside's the same. It's just a special slip cover I got when I bought it. But I really do love this movie. I don't know what it was about this movie. I just really
it's pretty solid. I don't understand why it gets so much hate, but yeah.
Neither do I.
It's good.
It's a pretty solid movie, and I mean, it's got a great cast to it. I mean, Anthony Hopkins, it's just like his gravitas in the film, and Chris Hemsworth was really great. And I mean, Loki wasn't like I like Loki, but over time they just overused him and I think he was like really great in this. It's just like the scenes in this movie is like, I have no interest in Thor: Love and Thunder, and I'm not really trying to bring it up.
As you shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean,
you know, I'm
I
gonna
know
tell you,
would.
I'm gonna
Go
tell you
ahead.
something about Thor: Love and Thunder. I haven't seen the movie yet, but the only reason my friend asked me if I wanted to see, and I told him like I'll only watch it just to hang out with you because I don't often get to hang out with some of my friends because of like college and shit. So I'm like, I'll see the movie just to hang out with you. That's fucking it.
It's
But yeah, like
well, what's funny is when that movie came out, you guys got, I mean, I'm sure you remember because you guys were alive, but like,
yeah,
like there was no real Thor movies besides that like goofy shit, right?
Yeah,
so I had no
Thor.
expectations going into this movie. I was expecting it to be like Aquaman stupid,
yeah,
right? Because Thor is this big blonde bimbo, and all I really knew of Marvel's Thor was those like Marvel barely moving animated shit from the 60s and 70s or whatever, where
yeah. I remember those cartoons. I used to rent them.
yeah, so I was like, oh shit, Lord knows what this is gonna be. And I was so surprised by how good it was.
Me too. And
so
like,
yeah,
I read, like I said, I know it's not popular amongst a lot of people, but I rank this in my top 5 Marvel films. I really do.
I don't know about my top 5. It might
I don't know
want to
about
go
my
top 10, but
I don't know about my
I know, I get that. I get that. I mean,
I enjoy the movie. I think it's the only good Thor movie in my opinion.
I'll tell you honestly, I didn't really hate the Dark World. I mean, it's not great, but I didn't really hate it.
I
liked it.
I just found it boring.
But this movie,
that's my biggest gripe with Dark World is like okay, like the first one's good. The second one is boring and it makes you like fall asleep. That was just my problem. Ragnarok to me, and I know Tom likes Ragnarok, I found it kind of like goofy, and it made Thor into a clown in my opinion. I didn't like it.
I love Ragnarok though.
I don't like Ragnarok.
I know.
But I find there's parts of Ragnarok I can watch Ragnarok.
The Kirby visuals are really fucking good. That's the one thing I like about it.
I like there's certain aspects of Ragnarok I like, but I don't like it all completely.
Yeah.
But I mean, from what I've heard of the new Thor, Love and Thunder, it's like Ragnarok is 100 times better in every aspect.
That's what I've heard people say. Like I've heard people say like if like those who didn't like Ragnarok, when you come out of Love and Thunder, you might find Ragnarok as like a masterpiece kind of thing compared to Love and Thunder. And plus, I can see the whole, the whole thing where Ragnarok is Batman Forever and Love and Thunder is Batman and Robin thing. I can see it without even watching the movie.
I mean, like I said, there's parts of Ragnarok I really, really like.
No, I like the Jack Kirby like sets and all that.
My biggest complaints about Ragnarok is I hated what they did to the Warriors 3. That kind of took me out.
The Warriors
3. Because because the thing is, I've read comic books and I love the Warriors 3 in the first 2 movies, and I thought they were kind of mistreated.
Oh yeah,
big time in the third Ragnarok, and that kind of upset me. But I really dug. I liked what's his name in the movie. The guy that plays on The Boys. What's his name? Carl Urban. I liked his character.
I forgot he was.
I thought the buddy stuff between Hulk and Thor really worked. I liked a lot of it, but there's also a lot of stuff I didn't like of it. So, but the first Thor movie, I absolutely love. It's solid. Like Tom said, it's a solid movie. I don't understand some of the hate the first movie gets. I understand the hate the second movie gets. But the first movie, I don't understand. I know it's not everybody's top 5, but it's in my top 5, and I just love this movie.
And what's his name? Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, he was like he was like the perfect director for that.
Honestly, I got to give him credit for not having the pretentiousness of casting himself as Odin.
Exactly, because he usually
because he could have played the role just fine. But like he could have been a pretentious asshole and be like, okay, I'll direct it, but I got to play Odin.
Anthony Hopkins,
and he could have been just fine in the role. Like everybody knows enough people know who he is that it wouldn't. I don't think anybody would have batted an eye if he would have. Right. But no, he had the wherewithal to go. No, I'm going to cast this guy to play this guy. And that's the thing is he took it dead ass fucking seriously, and he is responsible most likely for the version of Loki we got. let's be real here, because Loki is a goofy ass character in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a little weird to take. Like,
he's a little over the top, and more so in the comics.
Exactly. For me to kind of grasp what they were doing, like that was where I was coming into this going, this is gonna be batshit fucking crazy. Like, to me, like I understand, because like to me the weird thing is, and it makes even Andre's Batman Forever and Batman Robin comparison when it comes to Ragnarok and Love and Thunder more accurate, even because even though those were like the least favorite of the Batman movies, they're probably closer to the comics than the first two movies are.
Yeah, it's true.
In a lot of ways, there's bits and pieces of Ragnarok that are kind of a little bit more like the batshit craziness of the comics, and even Andre will come into its defense at times too. So it's like, and especially the Kirbyisms and other aspects of it too, especially if you go back to the Kirby stuff.
Yeah.
Like that batshit, like that's where I thought we were going to get it, but by then we've already got these characters established. Now we're going to have like a little fun, like road trip movie kind of comedy thing happening here. I was fine with that. Ragnarok, unfortunately, takes the shit too far. And none of it's funny. At least Thor, Love and Thunder takes the shit too far. Ragnarok is okay. It's funny. Thor, Love and Thunder is not. It unfortunately is not. So, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. Like I said, I shouldn't say I hate, because I don't hate Ragnarok. I feel like it's the decline of the Thor story.
I totally cannot defend it from those who don't like it, right? Like, I understand their gripes. Like, so it's not like I can sit there and go, "Oh, you're fucking insane," or anything like that. It's just, no.
I get you. I mean, like I said, it's not, I don't hate it, but there's stuff in it that makes me mad, but there's other stuff where I'm like, that is freaking awesome. I love that part of that movie.
I also didn't like that Odin died in Ragnarok.
That actually didn't bother me, because
the part that bothered me mostly was like, he dies, and then the very next part where Hela shows up, they're like cracking a joke, and I'm just like,
well, that's
it's like, I know that's
where it kind of came in,
like it's like you fuckers gotta stop doing this when it comes to the Marvel movies. It's like a serious moment happens and they try to like make a joke out of it. Like, I hate that.
I get you. But Brian Barth wants to know, before we get into some of the other stuff and move on here, is how do you think Marvel would be fair if it was still with Paramount? What do you guys think? You think it would be the juggernaut it became if Paramount kept it, or do you think?
See, here's the thing, though.
I think it was Kevin Feige just to begin with, and then.
I mean, Marvel Studios was Marvel Studios. The big difference, they probably would have stayed on a path where they would have done a little bit more adult fare. That part's true, but I don't know if they ever would have reached the heights they did, because Disney is a much bigger machine to get behind something like Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they would have been able to. I don't know if Paramount would have been able to afford to keep pumping, and it could have, if it's like one of those, it could have fed the machine, but we don't know enough. And I feel like even though we've gotten to this place where Disney's at now, I still feel like that the way that they made that deal and Disney put them on a much bigger scale with advertising and merchandising and tie-ins, and the fact that it had the Disney push behind it, that makes a big difference, because that's where a lot of times people will ask me, well, why don't people just make their own movie and put them out there? It's like, you can do that, but nobody's going to find your movie. I mean,
yeah.
That's the thing, is you got to have these advertising juggernauts behind you to be able to get the word out there, and Disney probably has some of the most reach of all of them, and Paramount, especially at that time, didn't.
Right.
And I don't know if they would have been able to reach the same heights. I mean, the Avengers might have been their high point when it came to Paramount, if that would have been where they stayed. Who knows?
That might have been where the Marvel brand ended, maybe.
Well, not so much ended, but like it would have probably went on, diminishing returns at that point, because I don't know if they would have been able to afford to keep around some of the bigger actors and stuff like that. Like when you get to the bigger paydays and shit like that. See, Disney can afford to take that risk a little bit more than Paramount could have, and I believe there would have been a lot of pushback from Paramount up above. And again, we may have wound up with better movies in the end. It may not have been the woke thing, but none of the studios were immune from the woke problem. So
No,
I
not
don't
around
know
that
if it would have been
time.
much different than that. And I don't think we ever would have got the Spider-Man deal. The
Mm-mm.
X-Men would have never came back together with them. And again, these could be better or worse. We have yet to see. But yeah, I think it would have been... I don't know if it would have been as big of a franchise without Disney's backing behind it, unfortunately. One way or the other, however you want to look at it.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I can see that.
And yes, it did feel different with Paramount because, like Tom said, they were going a little more adult. And actually, Iron Man 2 is actually supposed to be a little more in the vein of the Demon in the Bottle storyline from the comic books with Iron Man. But that's when Disney started to take in, and they kind of came in and changed that around, and that's why we got the Iron Man 2
Well,
we got.
and I don't know if they ever would have really went R-rated with the main storyline.
No, I don't think they would have. Yeah.
As much as you want to blame Disney, you still had Ike Perlmutter on the other end who wanted to sell fucking toys. Like, that was his whole main thing, right? Like, so he's not going to want a bunch of R-rated properties to try and sell toys off of, especially back then yet when kids were still the primary focus as far as toys. Like, now it's a little bit different market, right? Like, we're the bigger buyers of toys.
Yeah.
So that's a little different kind of market now than it was comparably 20 years ago or 10, 15 years ago even.
That's true. It's true. And yeah, and I don't think
that's pretty much where we're at. Is we're at the 10-year. It was 10 years ago that basically Disney bought Marvel, if I remember right.
Yeah,
it was like somewhere between 2011 and 12 because the Avengers was the last movie to be released in theaters by Paramount, but it was distributed on video by Disney. But then the next couple Iron Man movies still got the Paramount logo, and I think that was it. After that, I don't think the Thor or the maybe Captain America did, but I can't remember.
I think Avengers was the last one to have the Paramount logo.
I think so. I don't remember if Thor... Otherwise, Iron Man was the only one that I remember still had the Paramount logo until the last Iron Man movie, I think. So I still remember Iron Man 3. Yeah, I still remember Iron Man 3 having a Paramount logo for some reason.
Actually, you're right, because...
So that might have been the last one.
They re-released the Blu-rays after the Paramount deal was over.
Yes.
When they had to stop.
So that's the thing, is after that, that's when Disney regained distributorship over all the original films too. But I believe the end of the deal was between Avengers and Iron Man 3, somewhere in there. Because wasn't Iron Man 3 the first movie after the Avengers anyway?
Yes.
So then, from that point on, I don't think they have a Paramount logo.
Yeah, I believe you are correct on that. Yeah. But I had to watch Thor again, that first Thor, because I saw them clips and I was like,
Dark
damn,
World,
I missed that.
Does Dark World have the Paramount logo or no?
Yeah, I think it does.
So maybe Dark World and Winter Soldier do, but I can't remember other than that. I don't think they do. I think there was a few they had to finish off on the deal because they had like 3 or 4 pictures left. But like, because that's the thing, is technically, here's the funny thing. And I heard this from somewhere and I read this somewhere too. And I asked somebody about it who would have known, and they kind of reiterated the same thing. And that was that, yes, technically Marvel Studios is still independent. It is under Disney as far as ownership, and they have an office through Disney or whatever, but they could technically make and distribute movies with anybody they want. But what it is like this exclusive deal with Disney is what it really is about. It's not even so much like an ownership deal. It's like this weird thing. And then at least originally, and then they finalized it, I think, once Perlmutter was pushed out. So like now they do technically own it all, but like before this, there was this deal. So it was like they could have still released movies through other studios if they had wanted to at one time. I don't know if they can anymore now. See, I think Disney does own them right out now, straight up. But.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I think you're right, because what was it like? Was it a year or two ago? It was like Disney got full control over all of Marvel.
Yeah, the only thing they don't have complete control over is the movie rights for Spider-Man, technically.
Yeah, they don't have the. I think I know what you're talking about, because I remember it was like a year or two ago they got control of the comics, the movies, everything, where they have final say so over everything.
I think they technically have the Hulk now.
Really? Okay.
The deal before was they could use the Hulk as long as the Hulk wasn't in the title.
Yeah.
If Hulk wasn't in the title, Universal had to be involved. But I think I don't know if that ran out or if Disney just bought them out of the deal or what.
Okay. Yeah, I only mentioned Hulk because it was like mostly a universal thing because we only got one Hulk movie in the MCU.
Either way, they can keep using him as long as they don't put. And I think She-Hulk is under a different copyright, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that's.
I think it's something like where if Universal has to be involved if you do anything with.
And
the
again,
Hulk
I don't even know if
as a
that's even
solo
anymore.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that
like,
was just
I don't know that.
before.
Yeah, and like, but they could use him in like the Avengers and like She-Hulk and stuff because it's like a different thing. But yeah, like I don't know if I think I haven't heard much, but they may have gotten the Hulk out right.
Yeah, for some reason, somebody or something tells me, or remember reading something, or maybe Andre told me something like, yeah, that deal was worked out now, or something like that. But
yeah,
so they technically could now, but at the time of like Thor Ragnarok, they still couldn't, and that's why instead of doing Planet Hulk, they mixed that with Ragnarok, for instance.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I'm not so sure even Marvel has the, I would say, the confidence in Hulk to sell his own movie anyway.
Yeah, well, not with the way they've made him now.
Well, that would be my argument, is I don't think it's the character's fault. I just think it's the movies that we have gotten.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I will say I actually like The Incredible Hulk. I think it's probably the best version of Hulk.
I like The Incredible Hulk too. I think it's the most like underrated of the MCU movies. And I'll be honest with you. I enjoyed The Incredible Hulk more than Thor.
That's fine. That's cool.
I mean, I don't get me wrong. I like the first Thor movie. It's the only Thor movie of the. Well, I've only seen the first three. I haven't seen Love and Thunder yet. But the first Thor is the only one I like of the Thor movies that I've seen.
I
honestly think more people would have went to see The Incredible Hulk had they known it wasn't a sequel to Ang Lee's Hulk.
Exactly.
And that it was connected with the Marvel Universe. At that time, we still didn't have a concept of that shit.
Yeah, we didn't know at all.
I haven't seen the Ang Lee Hulk movie in so long. I probably saw it when I was like really little.
I know some fans who have issues with it. I like it up until near the end. The end is where it takes off the rails.
I agree with you at that time.
I'll be honest. The only thing I remember about the Ang Lee Hulk movie is the fucking ending, I think. And that wasn't very good.
You go back. Seriously, like you guys talk.
I mean, I'm trying to think. It's like I feel like the first Thor movie is a better movie than The Incredible Hulk, but I got more enjoyment from. I get you.
I get what you're saying, but you go back and you watch like the first phase of Marvel, and you see some of the Phase 4, and you're like, "What the hell happened?" You really do.
No, I agree. Like, no, especially that video where Mahler, clipped, the one part of Odin and Thor.
Yeah,
and that whole dynamic.
That's what got me to want to watch the first Thor, because I love the first Thor movie,
dude, man. That whole bit where he like takes away his powers, it's like, yeah, like there's literally like emotional ground and shit, and then like the next clip.
Plus, I just love this cover. I have
that's a cool cover, but like. No, but then like the next clip is like a cam version of some stupid shit that happens. It's just like, yeah, it's like you're right, Greg. It's like how, like, what the hell happened? Like, this is not in continuity at all with what they started off with.
As sometimes, I always, honestly, we'll move on to You Runner, because me and Tom's got movies we want to show real quick before we go too long. But I equated to the line.
Our final movie is similar, let's say.
Yeah, it's very similar. I equated to the line in Spider-Man 1 when Green Goblin tells Spider-Man, "There's nothing people love more than to see a hero fall." So, or I'm misquoting that, but you know that line I'm talking about.
Oh, the one where they're up in the rooftop.
Yeah.
Yeah. You compared that to the Odin Thor thing?
No, I compared the Marvel now. That's, what he tells Spider-Man is like, you may be a hero now in the eyes of the people, but no, people love. I can't remember the quite line the way I'm trying to say it is, but he's like, but there's people love to see a hero fall more.
Oh no,
like that's what's happening to Marvel.
Yeah, no. The quote I think is like, you may be loved, but like pretty soon you'll be hated or something like that. Like, it's something like that, and then like the next shot is like a newspaper hating on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And all that. Like you're right. Like, that is very.
Yeah. But
speaking of Spider-Man, I really hope Sony does the right move and lets Raimi make a Spider-Man.
Yeah. Now, see, Martin, that is true. Tony Stark does appear in the end of the Incredible Hulk movie, but Marvel literally had to make a short film to help people understand that it was connected to the MCU and what exactly that scene actually meant, because it didn't really fit in with the plan of what was coming.
No, but
so they had to make a short film with, like, because they used to make little Marvel short films on the Blu-ray releases.
Yeah,
but that was the first inkling we got that this was going to be an MCU kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, but like, even people didn't even expect Samuel Jackson to appear as Nick Fury in like the end credit scene for Iron Man.
Well, we didn't quite get it yet with that. Like, at that point, it could still just, because, it's the Marvel Universe. Of course, S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to have a place, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we had not yet quite gotten the concept of we're going to get a shared universe, because when the Hulk came out, we knew that was a totally different company. There was no connection whatsoever.
Right.
And Greg's like, right, all of a sudden, when at the end of that movie, when you have that end credit scene with Tony Stark, and we knew what the fuck was kind of going on all of a sudden, that was that moment when the shit clicked for us.
Yeah.
Because that's what I remember talking to my buddy right after the movie. I'm like, oh, are they going to do it? He's like, we're going to get the fucking Avengers.
Yeah. It was great. It was
like, that was the moment it kind of clicked for us. Yeah. Like, it was just like, holy shit, they're going to try and pull this shit off, ain't they?
I know.
Dude, and we're all sitting there going, they'll never get Spider-Man. But shit, can you imagine if we could get, like Captain America and Hulk and Ant-Man and all those guys? This could be fucking trippy as shit.
Hell yeah, I was like that with my brothers, man. We were like, I wonder who they're going to bring in, who's coming. And
dude, speaking of the Avengers, the first
Avengers. What if they get Wolverine?
Exactly.
Dude, the first Avengers was the first MCU movie I saw in the theater. I remember I wanted to see Captain America.
I saw almost all of them up to a point, and then I just quit.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think I saw all, like, starting from, what is it, first Avengers, and then I saw every single one after that until, I think I stopped around Far From Home, and then I went to No Way Home, and then Doctor Strange, and that's it. Yeah. But that, dude, I remember... I was super young when the first Avengers came out, obviously.
And I was like, we were even still confused because of Mark Ruffalo, right? Like, we knew that movie was supposed to be in there, but like, okay, are they discounting that movie now that they've changed the actor, or?
And
yeah, and there's actually a scene in Avengers where they put his Hulk over that Hulk from the Incredible Hulk when Captain America's watching it on his screen.
I never even, I don't know if I even noticed that.
You never noticed that? Go when he's on the
or if I did, it was so long ago that
the plane in the first Avengers, when he's on the plane with Coulson, and he's got the little like iPad thing in his hand. It's the clip from the Hulk, Incredible Hulk movie when he's breaking up that thing where he's about to fight Ross after they.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
In the school.
I kind of vaguely remember it now.
Yeah, and it's that they CGI'd Mark Ruffalo's Hulk into that
over
scene
top of it,
over the top of that Hulk.
Yeah,
but it's like real quick.
Because Norton's Hulk is the Hulk I call the veiny Hulk.
Yeah, with all the like veins.
He's all veiny, and he's got like the neck like a thing going on.
I'll be honest. I liked the Edward Norton Hulk, like just the Hulk like design part more than any of Mark Ruffalo's Hulk designs, in my opinion. Plus, I just think. What's his name? Edward Norton's a better.
I prefer Norton as a Hulk, as far as or Bruce Banner, anyway. I should say.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't hate Ruffalo in the first Avengers, but then every other movie after that,
I don't know if Norton would have fit into the version of Ruffalo of the they did with Ruffalo.
Hulk, yeah.
See, and I don't think he would have played ball with him either.
Yeah.
So it was inevitable that sooner or later that was just going to give.
No, but other than that first Avengers movie when it came out, like that was mind blowing.
Because have you guys ever seen Birdman?
No, I've seen parts of it.
I haven't seen it.
With Michael Keaton,
that's the Michael Keaton movie.
Like, I've heard from multiple people that basically Edward Norton's playing himself in that movie.
Oh, really?
Like, because he's a complete dickhole, but he's like super serious about being an actor. So like that's what I've heard mostly about. Like, that's pretty much close to what he normally acts like in real life. So. Yeah, if you see the
I
movie,
believe
you'll know
that.
what I'm talking about. He's a complete dickhole.
Yeah.
But he's super serious when it comes to acting, and he's a good actor. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so he has that about
I
him,
mean,
but like,
I mean,
yeah.
I've seen him in
Yeah.
Fight Club. That's the only thing I remember seeing him in.
But real quick before we go into your pick and mine and Tom's pick, why not James Bond Marvel characters? Honestly, I think that's what they should have did after Endgame. But I know how like Tom said, the Disney machine, it got to keep going. Personally, I would have ended the MCU at that point in time, or at least gave it a rest, and then you could have brought it back with new actors years down the
Most
line or
people did
something.
feel like
But
it ended,
that's
yeah.
just me.
No, I agree. I think they should have taken they.
It sounded like that's kind of what Kevin Feige wanted to do after Endgame by using the multiverse, but it seemed like a lot of people were resistant to that idea.
Yeah.
So. And rightfully so, at least at this point, because you're on a you're on a 15-year run at this point. Don't fuck it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they've done nothing but fuck it up. So
Pretty much. Who was that? I don't remember who I heard it from, but I heard that like James Gunn was originally supposed to spearhead the.
oh, you probably
Phase
heard it from
4.
us.
I think it was.
I remember hearing that from you guys, Tom.
I would say either us or the original report that we got it from too, and that was just like
it was a Cosmos thing.
They were planning on doing the cosmic route next. This multiverse thing was like a last minute like direction change because initially with the fourth phase was supposed to kick off with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and get into the cosmic stuff leading into like Secret Wars and all that kind of shit.
Yeah. See, the cosmic stuff would have made so much more sense than the multiverse stuff. It's just like, because I feel like, because you needed to really build up the whole multiverse thing, and you can argue that they did with Endgame or whatnot, but like, honestly, the whole concept and all that, it's just like, no, that doesn't really count.
So my guess is everything that had nothing to do with the cosmic side, we still got, like probably Shang-Chi and a couple other things that were planned. Like I think Eternals has been planned for a while too. But like everything that was cosmic is now being pushed to phase 5 because now Guardians isn't coming until the end of this phase.
Yeah.
So that's where I think this multiverse stuff, they just kind of meandered in the multiverse for like 5 movies now or whatever.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Outside of Spider-Man No Way Home being kind of like the fluke of this group, which is hilarious because most diehard fans of the MCU up to this point have not liked Spider-Man. But yet this was the most popular one of the bunch, and it's like it was technically the best of the bunch thus far. And I mean, of course, looking back on it, I mean, if we really look at it, if you take away the whole cool idea of having Tom team up with Toby and Andrew, I mean, if you really take that away from the movie, is it really that great of a movie, to be honest with you? Like compared to like Infinity War or Civil War or even Winter Soldier especially? No, none of these movies are at that caliber. Going back to what you guys are saying, I'd even say you can't put half of these movies up against the original Thor or Captain America, which is another very overlooked Marvel movie.
Yes, that first Captain America movie is awesome.
I fucking love that first Captain America
movie.
It's a great movie.
Dude, there are some people that hate that first Captain America movie, and I'm like, you are high.
You don't need that kind of negativity in your life, man.
Yeah, no. I remember when they was showing trailers for that, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like Captain America. And then when I went to the theaters and I walked out, I was like, that movie was fucking awesome.
That's my favorite of the first phase. That is my favorite of the first phase.
I think I got.
You know what? I'm not too far behind with you on that.
I think the first time I saw the first Captain America, I think like it was like released on DVD or whatever, and I like got it from the library or something, and I watched at home, and I was like, this is fucking awesome.
You stick a needle in his arm, it's gonna go right through.
And
somebody
then,
get that boy a sandwich.
And
then making me cry.
And then that first Avengers movie came out, and it was that was like revolutionary. Like in my time,
it's a shame we never got any more Tommy Lee Jones.
Well, that was MCU. For us too, Runner, in a lot of ways. I mean, and that's the closest I can compare anything to what it would be like for your guys' experience was for like us experiencing things like Star Wars and Jurassic Park for the first time.
Exactly. Because like, I think I remember I was talking to like Justin Proper, I think, and like he asked me what my generation's Star Wars was, and I mentioned like the beginning of the MCU was pretty like.
I would say it's the Avengers, definitely. Fuck Avatar, it's definitely the Avengers.
Exactly, like because I told him like that first Avengers movie was like the first MCU movie I saw in the theater, and it was mind blowing.
Well,
Like
Greg and mine's generation is Jurassic Park, right? We were a little too young for Star Wars, but that was our thing. Was Like that was the movie that I don't know about you, Greg, but when we went to the movie, like it was just my dad was even like floored by that movie, and
it was
wow.
crazy. I remember seeing it, and then I also remember like when we got it on VHS, we'd be like, "You've got to see this movie," and like my aunts and uncles are like, "You want to watch Jurassic Park? Let's watch Jurassic Park," because it's like we were showing everybody this movie. So yeah, I get what you're coming from. But let's go into your runner real quick. I know we kind of went off a little bit there.
Talk, and we got a long ways to go yet.
Yeah.
So let's see what you got.
Good thing we cut it down to 3 titles this week, huh?
Yeah, exactly. We almost
3 picks.
We've
anyway.
gone way over.
I have another pick after this if you guys still want to. Well,
if you feel left out in the last one, we'll leave that up to you depending on how much time we got left.
We'll figure it out.
But
go ahead. What you got real quick?
Well, this one might be pretty quick since we've talked about this movie plenty of times. And evidently I've looked to see if I've even like showed this one, and for some reason I didn't. I could be wrong. I don't know if I've shown this before, but it's an Arrow release.
We've seen Dawn of the Dead before.
Yeah, that's a movie I don't mention that often, actually. No, it's I'll give you a hint. They announced that there's a game coming out for this, and just fuck
Mario
it.
Brothers?
That's not going to.
It's RoboCop.
RoboCop. Fucking
is that the 4K one?
It's the 4K, yes.
Nice.
But hold on. I gotta do something real quick. I gotta do something real quick. Hold on, Runner.
I know what you're doing. I'll buy that for $1.
But I will shoot you in the dick for free.
And I knew you were gonna play that fucking clip.
It could be worse. I could have played this one.
No, but what?
That was from the episode where Hulk fought a bear.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I'm serious.
It's true. I've seen that episode. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then there's the one where the guy dresses like Bigfoot.
I remember that one too.
Oh,
I love a Hulk. I don't care. Like I've been watching that shit. Eventually, I will bring that on the show. I've been watching it. I'm not even through the first season yet, so it's. You got to remember, this is back when they had 20-some episodes a season, kids.
Yeah, it was. It took me forever when I bought the DVDs to go through every episode.
that clip is.
Well, I've come
hilarious.
to one conclusion. Dr. David Banner is a horrible fucking scientist and a doctor.
It's true.
But he's a very good detective and counselor.
Exactly. I agree with you on that one, yes.
He's getting his shit all up in everybody's business.
No, but back to
and trouble follows that man like you wouldn't believe.
Like
yes, back to RoboCop.
Okay, yeah, go on.
So back to RoboCop. So I luckily I think I got it around the same time Tom got his delivered, because I remember at the time Tom was like, yeah, I know. It was like, my box set hasn't come yet. So then I look at like my Best Buy app. Yes, I'm
your Best Buy.
No, so then I go to one I normally don't go to. Like I've had to like drive.
He cheated on his Best Buy.
Yeah, I cheated on my normal Best Buy and went to another one. So I went to this one that was in this mall. It was actually close to where I worked, so I went there after I got done with my shift, and I checked to see. He's like, there were a few more of these there, and I checked to see if they were still there, and they were, and I snatched it. It was like, yes, I got RoboCop on 4K. Fuck yeah. So then I come back and I tell you, everyone's like, hey, I found this at a Best Buy. And I think that's kind of where it all started. I think that's kind of where all this fuck your Best Buy shit started from Greg. He was so pissed off that I got this. And for some fucking reason, I don't know why, I didn't show this. I don't think I showed this in any of the shows because
we talked about it with Tom so much.
It's either that or maybe like I just didn't have the time to like actually like look like watch it. I think that was another one. Like I've seen like parts of it on 4K, and then it looks pretty good. I think it looks decent. I like the set and all that. Like I was glad it would actually came with the the poster and then this little booklet thing and all that.
It's the Arrow does great sets like that, and so
no, but then there's like some like I'll say this, there are even some like Arrow releases in Best Buy that are just like it just comes with the disc and that's it, which is kind of lame.
Yeah,
like that happened with Dune and Flash Gordon.
Yeah, and then here we go once again. We got Runner bringing up RoboCop at the end here, right? And he was talking about the Mortal Kombat crap in the beginning. We talked RoboCop in the beginning. He could have brought it in then.
I forgot. But
it's the rule. It's like 6 degrees of RoboCop with me.
Yeah.
I literally had one of our listeners fucking message me the other day. Why is it you always talk about RoboCop?
Because it's one of the great.
Any reason I can find to talk about RoboCop? Yes.
Because RoboCop's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Duh.
It's a great movie. Yeah. But yeah, it's an awesome
a guy in the dick. What other movie can you say that about? Besides 21 Jump Street, which really kind of ripped it off. If you ask me.
That's true.
It's a great movie. I mean, do you really need a reason to talk to RoboCop? It's awesome.
And there's a game. There's a first-person shooter.
Yeah, I heard that.
It's the anniversary. Fright Rags has got some shirts out there. I'm like, shit, I hope I get paid soon.
Yes. I've seen them shirts and look awesome. But let's, if you're good, Runner, we're going to move on to mine and Tom's. Are you good? You want to talk anything else about it?
No, it's a good movie. Everyone knows that. There's not much to say about it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it immediately.
Right. Can you fly, Bobby?
Can you fly, Bobby?
Dick Jones. Dick Jones. He works for OCP. OCP runs the cops.
Love that. So, Tom, do you want to show yours? Or you want
let's preface this by saying we teased this a bit last week.
Yes.
And I heard from another source yesterday, that there is something coming for these. So expect some, and these need a new scan bad.
Yeah.
But you got a really recent release, and I went overboard, and I've got pretty much every release in existence.
And now you might have to get another when those other ones come out.
I'm just kind of fingers crossed. I'm sure it won't be 4K, but that would be amazing if it was.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Even if it's just a new 2K scan at this point of the negative of the first of the first 2 films, which are the ones we're going to really key in on most of all. But there are 4 films in this series, but there's only a couple ways of getting the 3rd film, and it's not by U.S. means. But for those who may not have seen them or know what we're talking about the Ghoulies franchise, and of course they were released already by Shout a few years back. But it's funny because you have the other cover up there. I have the reverse cover. We now have the umbrella editions of Ghoulies 1 and 2, which what you get from here is the same scan as the Shout Factory, but there's some special features that are on the Shout Factory disc that aren't on here, and there's some special features on here that aren't on the Shout Factory disc.
Right.
But so I don't know if you want to talk about those 2 first before I get into the rest or not. But
we'll talk 1 and 2 real quick, and then because you've got the 3 and 4, I have not seen it, but I also want to say 4, real quick.
But for those
you have 3.
I have the Spanish and the German imports.
Let me blow you up real quick.
And that's one of the only ways you can get part 3 in high definition. But the interesting thing about this one is it has the R-rated cut of part 2, and it has the Wasp music video as well.
Awesome. Well, and I want to talk to you about the R-rated cut too when we get into it.
Yeah, and when we get to this one, there's a little bit of differences between these 2, but we'll get to it. The scans are pretty much exactly the same through all of them, though. So that's where I'm saying these movies need new scans bad.
Yes. And good night, Brian Barth. I want to say good night to you. Thank you for hanging with us. I hope you enjoyed the show. Okay. Now, where do you want to begin? Where do you want to start?
Ghoulies. 1985, a movie that was supposed to come out in 84 and was technically has two origin stories. Depending on who you ask. But more famously, it's Charlie Band's most successful film of all time. For those who may not know that name, he's, of course, the man who created Full Moon Features.
Yes, sir. Great guy.
Of course, is behind like the Puppet Master and things of that sort. And this was his biggest theatrical hit of all time. So yeah, let's start there with Ghoulies, the original classic.
And it's a great film. And if you have not seen it, the premise is essentially there's like this satanic cult that's doing this ritual, and the mom oh man, I've already forgot how that is. Like the mom wants to save the baby, but then she ends up she gets killed.
The whole
right?
thing is that there's this man who's going to sacrifice a baby for either eternal life or youth, or to steal his youth, and it's his own son.
Yeah,
and the mother was like, she must have been misled because she feels like she I think she remembers saying something like, "You told me you wouldn't," or whatever. And then she protects the baby by putting an amulet on the baby. So the father gets pissed off, casts the baby away, and she gets sacrificed in his stead.
Yes.
And then of course we jump ahead 20 some years, and the baby is now an adult.
Yes.
And in college, and has a girlfriend. And is I don't know if he's just become aware of the inheritance or what. I'm assuming maybe he just turned 21 or something like that.
Yeah, and he gets like this family homestead, which he's never known his father too. So
right, so he's aware of the house, and he knows like the groundskeeper there, who is actually the person who saved him that night or ran off with him. And I mean that's right in the beginning of the film, so it's not like it's hidden. But then he starts to stumble upon his father's old work.
And he slowly starts to read into the book and the magic, and he calls forth. Does he call for? I can't remember if he called the ghoulies first or the two little people. I think
it was the ghoulies first.
Yeah, he calls forth like the ghoulies, and then he calls forth like these two like
little minion guys,
minion peoples, and they kind of explain to him a little bit what he needs to do. And like meanwhile his girlfriend is like, what the hell's going on? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, because he drops out of school and all that kind of shit.
And they have a big party with all their friends early on, so you get to see all the cast of like the people that's going to come together to like for an intervention on him.
It's got a fairly decent cast. And again, even though these are supposed to be college-age kids, they vary in ages.
Some of them look from like 20 to 40. So.
Exactly, like it's a varied group.
That's what I love about like old 80s movies.
Right. But of course, his whole plan is to use his friends to create the ceremony that his father did years before. And hopefully finish the job this time, even though I don't know who he's going to sacrifice. They don't really get into that.
Yeah, they don't really get into all that, do they?
But he ends up calling forth more ghoulies, and then his father gets resurrected, and it turns out that his father's going to try and basically, actually, the end of the movie is let's just tell everybody. His father was planning this whole thing anyway. Like this was the plan, like from the very beginning. Yeah, and then he's was going to re-sacrifice him again. Exactly. So he could get his power back. Yeah. But of course the groundskeeper comes in and saves the day. And that's kind of the end of the movie. It just kind of ends there. I mean, it's not a horrible movie by any stretch of the imagination. It's actually a very imaginative film for the time, considering there's so many ripoffs of Gremlins that came out, or movies that you could say banked on the Gremlins success. There was Critters, there was this, of all the ripoffs, like Critters and Ghoulies are probably the more well-regarded of the bunch, let's say. I would definitely say, Critters and Ghoulies are my favorite Gremlins ripoffs. Definitely. Yeah. And John Carl Buechler does the effects in the first two films, or three films, actually. So they look pretty good for the extremely low budget. Yeah. And for those who don't know, this movie was originally meant to be in 3D, or at least sections of it were. Oh, really? That one I did not know. You know how in the dinner section and the other parts where he's always putting on sunglasses and everybody's wearing the weird sunglasses in the party part? Oh, yeah, yeah. Like the original plan was that whenever anybody had the glasses on, you put your 3D glasses on. Oh, that makes sense. But they found out between the logistics of doing a film that would at that time switch from 2D to 3D were almost impossible. And the logistics of shooting in 3D were becoming very difficult with the puppets and everything involved. So they
That
just
makes
scrapped
sense.
the idea
Yeah.
like 3 days in. So I guess there's still some. I'm sure there's got to be some footage out there in 3D. It would be really cool if
That'd be
we
nice.
got like an Uber special edition where they kind of gave us some of that kind of stuff. And
maybe we'll get it on the set that's rumored to be coming.
yeah, it'd be nice, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up at all on this set. Wouldn't be surprised if it's like a re-release of the same damn scan with just the special features that are on the Umbrella set.
Yeah, probably. Dalton B, I hope you enjoy the replay. Thanks for stopping in, man. But yeah, and then like if the ghoulies, like the whole, like if you remember the poster with the ghoulies coming out of the toilet, that scene was actually not in the original cut of the movie.
Yeah, because that came later as an idea.
Yeah, that came later. Yeah, they had to add it in because I believe the executives that watched it was like, what is the ghoulie coming out of the toilet? And it was
what happened was Charlie went to one of his friends who was a good promoter, I guess. I guess this guy was a hell of a stoner. So him and Charlie sat there for a couple hours smoking weed. They watched the movie. They were trying to think of a campaign. He's got it. I got it. What if we have one of these little fuckers coming out of a toilet? And Charlie's like, I don't know if they'll let us do that, but I'm listening. He's like, you never seen an image like that before.
Yeah.
And he's like, they'll get you in the ass. That's it. He's like, we can't put that on the poster. He's like, I'll come up with something better, but just trust me on this one. And so Charlie's like, well, I'll go home and think about it. And he said he went home or whatever. And then like the next morning he gets a phone call from this guy and he goes, hey, I'll get you in the end. And so they set up this it's a little figure. It's not even the full blown.
Yeah,
thing.
It's not the.
So they set it up, did the whole campaign, and the campaign was so popular at that point. And they realized, well, shit, we have none of these guys in the toilet in the movie. So they shot one for the trailer, and they threw that trailer shot at the very, very, very end of the movie.
Yeah.
So they could at least say that it's in the movie. But like the funny thing is that poster was most famous for kids of that era being afraid of using the toilet.
It's true.
And Charlie said he came in one morning, like a week or two after the movie came out, and literally his secretary's desk was overflowing with letters. And he's like, what the hell is this? She's like, she starts reading one off, and it's about a kid who refuses to, they've been fighting with this kid to get him potty trained, and he's, because of your fucking movie now, my kid won't even go in the bathroom anymore. And she's like, this is all what all of them are like. He's like, really? She's like, yes. And there's more.
And I just pictured being like Bill Murray from Scrooge. Yes. You can't buy publicity.
Well, that's kind of what happened. At first, he kind of panicked. And he's like, oh shit, what do we do? And they're like, so they're talking like, should we pull the poster? Should we pull the campaign? What should we do? And they're bouncing back and forth the idea. And the guy, I think it was the same guy who came up with the campaign. He's like, we can do one of two things. We can pull it. That's fine. But if you leave it out there, you can't buy publicity like this.
Exactly. Runner has to go real quick.
Yeah, Runner's got to leave. So yeah.
So
at the end of the story, Charlie's like, fuck it, we'll stick with it.
Yes. And shout out to Charlie Bain. If you're watching this, because I know he follows me, we'd love to have you on here and talk to you one day. I know you're doing your podcast now, but come on.
Oh, is he? Cool.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get a hold of him for a while, but I got a hold of his brother. I've talked to his brother, but yeah.
Yeah, if he ever gets holds of us, I would love to talk to him. So, but Runner, go ahead and say your goodbyes, and then we'll get to Ghoulies.
All right. Yeah, thank you guys. It's good show. I thought I'd leave and let you guys talk about Ghoulies because we've been here for quite a while.
Yeah. We know it's past your bedtime.
Hey, fuck off. No.
I had a nap, you whippersnapper.
By the way, I just checked on was it Shout Factory? The Friday the 13th collection is now $95.99.
No, it's a good deal.
So yeah, it is a really good deal. So those who don't have it, it's a dang good price.
Yeah,
less than $100. But I should have a video that I might premiere tomorrow. Actually, I think It's like a little compilation thing about the fan expo and stuff. Just to
Cool.
put a video out there on my channel. So I might do that tomorrow. And yeah,
Cool.
this is about it.
All right, drop your link in your chat to your channel in the chat on your way out. But have a good one, man.
I will. All right, you
All
guys have fun.
All right, have a good one. All right, guys, check out Runner when he puts his link in the chat. And so, yes, Ghoulies 1 is a great film. I like it, but I will say that I actually preferred part 2 over the first one.
Well, yeah, funny enough, Charlie isn't the only person in the family in the movie business. Also, his brother is. He does music. And his father is a director. And oddly enough, his father directed Ghoulies 2. And I agree with you, Greg. Ghoulies 2 is the superior film. In fact, I would argue it's a really good movie, actually.
It really is.
And for those who don't know, it has no real connection with the first movie outside of the Ghoulies. We get a new Ghoulie. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say essentially like when the movie starts, it's people just sort of dressed in the robes from the first movie chasing a preacher, and that's essentially like the only connection it has to the first movie because like the cult who called forth the Ghoulies in the first place. That's really about it.
Right. And we do get introduced to a new Ghoulie, because in the original film we got the Bat Ghoulie, we got the Cat Ghoulie, we got the Ground or Rat Ghoulie, whatever you want to call him, and we got the Water Ghoulie or the Green Gremlin Ghoulie, like I have behind me back there. You can't really see him, but the green one, yeah. But in this one we got the Crawling Ghoulie or the Lizard Ghoulie, as he's referred to usually, because he likes to walk around on all fours. He looks kind of like a squished alligator, like if an alligator had and a frog had a baby.
Yeah, that's true. It did, and
he's the one that's on the cover with the green guy with the pig nose. With a pig nose, he's got kind of like a pig nose.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that guy. Other way.
Can't see. I can't. My fingers. There you go, right there. This guy. If you guys can see it.
Yeah, so he was the new Ghoulie we got in this one. And of course, John Carl Buechler was able to redesign them a little bit, give them a little bit better look. They're a little bit more articulate. So yeah, this is some of the best that they look. Although we'll talk a little bit more about that when I get to 3. But
yeah, they do look a lot better in this, and I really love the fact that it goes to like a carnival, and that's like a horror house, the Satan's Den or whatever they called it. I really like that. That's where they ended
it's
up.
It's a great setup.
Yeah, it's a great setup because they see like the monsters on the semi truck and they climb into the, like that's where they're supposed to go. So I really like that.
Funnily enough, I actually saw this one before I saw the first one.
Really? I actually saw the first one first. So.
No, I didn't. I never saw the first one because that one scared me a little too much. Because like Gremlins even freaked me out as a kid. But then when I started to learn about it, Gremlins became my favorite movie. But Ghoulies was just one I couldn't quite bring myself around to. And then I just happened upon it. The second film, I think it was like, I think I started in just as they started hopping out of the trailer. Because I didn't no idea what the hell I was watching until it was over. And then I went and looked in the TV guide. Or I kind of figured out once I seen the Ghoulies, I think, or whatever it was. And then I loved it. So I was like, okay, now I got to see the first one. But like, so yeah, so I've always had more of an affinity for the affinity or whatever for the second film anyway. But no, overall, even with age, while looking back on them, the second film ages much better. It's a lot more fun. Sure, it's a little goofier and cheesier in some spots, but the premise, the setup,
that adds to its charm. Personally,
yeah, exactly. It's more solid. It lends itself to having more fun with the Ghoulies. Because in the first film,
it's because like in the first one. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, just that you're kind of stuffed into the mansion. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say like in the first one, the Ghoulies really aren't that a huge big part of the movie. It's essentially the story about the guy and his girlfriend and his friends, and like the Ghoulies are just there sporadically. In this one, they're like in it a lot. It's really focused on them and the kid and his grandpa and like some of the people of the carnival. So yeah.
And no, like I think it's his uncle or something like that, actually. But yeah, either way.
Oh yeah, his uncle, not his grandpa's uncle.
But but either way, it's Royal Dano who's great in everything he's in. But no, I agree with you too, because like you have like you said, the great kind of premise of the Ghoulies are out in the open now. They're not stuffed in this house, And the funny thing is, when I say there's multiple versions of how the movie came together, I think that the truest story lies in this. Charlie Band had an idea to make a really cheap movie in one set, mainly, and it was going to be about like voodoo and body taking over and stuff like that. And then, or no, these other people did. I can't remember who it was, but then the original writer. And then Charlie, on the other hand, supposedly had this idea for a movie called Beasties that he had been talking about with Stan Winston about little monsters. And I think the two just ended up getting combined, because the one guy in the one interviews was talking about how he didn't remember the Ghoulies really being a big part of the story until they got to the set. And then that's when the movie became Ghoulies, right? Because it didn't, I don't remember what the hell it was called before that. But like, so like the two ideas seem to combine, and to here, it's like they finally have a straightforward idea to where that first movie you can kind of feel where things are still kind of coming together, right? Here it just doesn't matter. It's like the Ghoulies are there. That's all that matters. They're indestructible. They're here. Like that's the only two things you need to know about them, because right off the bat, we're introduced to the priest guy that you said that was running away with a bag from the what did you call him,
the satanic cult people.
Satanic cult people or whatever they are, yeah. And he dumps them into a corrosive acid fucking bin, and they're fine. They end up pulling his ass in, and he dies, but they're fine, right? Yeah. So right there, they introduced us to the idea that these things are indestructible. So then, like you said, they're hiding out in this Satan's Den thing, and they fit right in there, right? And of course, that's kind of the whole joke of the movie, is that the money guys are coming down to check out the carnival. So of course, everybody's nervous. And Satan's Den, which has normally been kind of a miss when it comes to the park, is all of a sudden a hit. It's got
like the old like Frankenstein and Mommy and like nothing way scary. It's not really selling.
And Royal Daniel's character is, of course, like, you know, a huge alcoholic, and that's another problem in the story and whatnot.
He's an old magician who is just like drunk all the time.
Who's lost his ambition and shit like that. And so like basically, so they can't quite figure out at first why the hell they're getting all this interest. Well, then they find about the Ghoulies, and the Ghoulies have killed like 2-3 people already by that point, which is kind of cool, because it has this, there's the PG-13 version, which to me, it just never felt like a PG-13 movie, and I didn't understand how it could be. But then when you see the R-rated cut, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, because like you get the chick who's she loses her cat and is like, has anybody seen my cat? And as I go, he's like, yeah, who hasn't? She goes, not that, I meant like my cat or whatever. And then she goes into the Satan's Den, and like the Ghoulies like brutally murder this woman.
Well, yeah, they pretty much anybody they kill, yeah.
Yeah, and then it cuts from that into like where like Royal Dano finds the Ghoulies, and it's like this really cutesy type scene, and it's like it kind of don't fit at the moment until, you know, it starts to unfold. So like it does feel like maybe there was a little, because I don't know what's in the R-rated cut yet. So
okay, well, yeah, basically all the scenes that are in the R-rated cut are on that disc you have. They're just as a separate deleted scene section. Really?
I haven't watched the special features for
and it is one of those things where I think the PG-13 cut makes the movie worse than the R-rated cut, because once you see the R-rated cut scenes, they're so over the top that like it takes away from the scariness of it, because like in that respect, like that adds a bit more edge to it, not seeing some of the stuff, because then your mind is creating more stuff. If you see the deleted R-rated stuff, it's so cheesy in a way, like not in a bad way, but in a way that you're kind of like, it kind of takes away the edge, because you got like the clown coming with his arms ripped off and shit, and you got like, you know, like it gets a little bit more with the blood and some other things, and it's just minor cuts. It's really like barely a minute longer. And of course that
do they add nudity in?
No, there's nothing like that. It's just gore is really all it is. Really? Like when they're stretching the one chick out and stuff like that, you got the one ghoulie like gnawing at her hand and shit like that. Like that's a bit more bloodier and graphic. Like it's just little things. It is, and there's a few alternate shots in the PG-13 cut that are in the R-rated.
Sort of like RoboCop.
Kind of, in a sense that like, yeah, so like when he rips the clown's arm off, you see the arm float up first, and then the ghoulie, and then he's like, I think he tries to bite it again or something like that. And then in the PG-13 cut, you just see the ghoulie surface. You don't see the arm. It's a completely different shot. So like, yeah.
I love that shot of a goalie's hand gripping a straight razor and Satan's Den. That is, when he's holding that out and he pops it out.
Or something like that. He said.
He's like, I get you. it does really play because like they get like the ghoulies have personalities in this one where they didn't really have personalities in the first one.
A little bit more. And what's funny is I think John Carl Buechler did the voices for all the ghoulies in 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, he did all the... You know, he just insisted upon it, I guess. But he was a goofy character. He's one of those guys that was a big, burly character, and he died too soon.
Yeah.
Because he just died a few years ago, actually. And I guess Gary has some loose relation to him, because that's how I knew how to say his name correctly.
No, really?
Because when I first met him, he's like, wow, you actually say it right. Most people say it wrong. I was like, yeah, because of John Carl. You know, I know his name and everything, so yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, he's like a cousin of mine, I guess.
Freaking Gary.
Like a second cousin or something or other, he said. I can't remember.
He's like, he knows all these people. He's like, oh yeah, that's my cousin.
Well, I mean, they're probably from the same area too on top of it. So it's not a very common name-ish. I mean, it's not like uncommon-ish, but it's not like a name you hear every day. So. Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. That's interesting. There's a little extra gore, and you know, if you've not seen the second one, it's just so good. Like when because I had not seen it in so long, and when I was watching it on mine, and I was like, man, this is just.
Well, the only reason we're aware of it, blame the UK. For some reason, they ended up getting the R-rated cut on video, even though I think they got the PG-13 version in theaters. So for years, the version they enjoyed over there was in the quote-unquote UK cut was the R-rated cut. So when they got the newer Blu-rays, I guess the last time around, they were all upset about that. And so I think that's where this German Blu-ray comes from. And wherever I read that shit from, it's wrong. The added scenes are not in standard def. They basically did exactly what I said, and that was they just added in those new scans to the movie.
To the movie. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It doesn't have the 5.1 mix on the R-rated cut, but to me, it's no big deal. That 5.1 mix is just basically an up-convert of the 2.0 mix anyway. Yeah. So it doesn't sound too much different.
But
you're not losing anything.
Yeah. But I will admit, this was my first
actually, this German import is actually pretty affordable.
Oh, really? How much is it?
I got it on eBay for like $40 with shipping.
That's not bad because trust me,
for the 3 movies.
Yeah, for those like imported ones, that's actually a good deal for people who that's actually a good deal.
And it actually has a couple of things. Like I said, it has that music video. It's not the best quality. I actually have a version of that music video downloaded that's better quality.
Oh yeah.
So, but like, yeah.
I was gonna say, but speaking of like that stuff, as the first Ghoulies on this umbrella has 2 TV cuts with commercials.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And everything.
I don't know how they got away with this.
I don't know.
Because it's one thing to like be able to show some of that stuff but have to mute out maybe like the audio, or maybe have a few of the commercials in there that they know they can get away from because they're no longer around. But like, no, they have like tons of music and stuff in these. Like they're legitimate commercials. Like Greg's right. Like both of these TV cuts have every commercial still left in.
It's true. And it's got the music, like actual music that was used from like real songs and stuff. So how they
like in the commercials,
the CCR stuff. I don't know how they made.
There's even movie trailers and everything in there. It's crazy because one of them's from like the late 80s.
Yeah.
And the second one's from what it looks like either I think the late 90s or early 2000s.
Because
it's when it was still the WB
stuff.
Yeah, because it was still when they were WB yet. So yeah.
It's interesting, and my guess is that they probably just downloaded them off of YouTube or somewhere and just slapped them on this disc.
Well, they say who they got them from. Actually, I think it's from the same individual too. Yeah, I can't remember. It's somewhere listed in the credit thing. Yeah,
I bet that individual put them up on YouTube.
See, because I know some of the guys who usually give this kind of stuff over for these, and like I know a guy who's always giving them trailers and other shit, and sometimes he's like they can use it, sometimes they can't get clearance for stuff. Right, so it's like just a matter of whatever, kind of like we just talked about earlier on 4K for You with the whole Marty situation.
Yeah,
chances are, I'm sure, considering they were negotiating, whoever has the print, that's not the problem. It's probably if there's another actor or something involved in the movie that's in the extended cut that isn't in the theatrical cut, there probably has to be some negotiation there, and those negotiations probably fell apart. And it's the same kind of thing here. Like I've got like I said, I got a buddy that I talk to all the time, and he's got like these things and. He's got little feature, like the little EPK things and everything from back in the day. And, like he'll furnish these things to places like Arrow and Shout But whether or not they're able to use it is whether or not they can get clearance. On this thing, I feel like they didn't get any clearance at all. How the fuck could they?
This is what I'm saying. Is like I really think whoever they got it from, or like you said, the guy, I think they just slapped it in there, and that just like
consequences be damned. Maybe I don't know.
Who's gonna know?
I mean, I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if they didn't do some uniformed kind of thing, because now we're in this place, and I'm going to keep this as short as possible because I know we're way over time already.
Yeah.
Now it's not like it used to be, because you'll even remember, like back in the day with video in the early days of DVD, there was a lot of shows and movies that would either have their music changed, or they wouldn't release them at all because the music clearance rights were just too difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, like 3 companies basically bought up all the music rights. You had Sony BMG, Warner Brothers, and Universal. Those are the 3 main companies that own just about everything. Like, for instance, Warner Brothers is the one that Disney uses to control their music now, for instance. So maybe there is some, like, handshake deal between all these companies now that they're just kind of allowing each other to kind of just use shit now. Maybe. That's the only thing I can think of at this point, because even still, there's still problems with getting some of the rights to the music rights of some of these things. So I'm not even sure if that's it. I think Umbrella being outside the U.S., thinking they're just going to get away with this somehow, because it's not going to technically be released in the U.S.
True.
So
I just think that's got to be how they're getting away with it, like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm flabbergasted. Because I was blown away, because I was sending you guys fucking images and shit.
He was like,
video.
I'm like, no, dude, that's what sold me on buying it, because it's like my very first umbrella. I've never bought an umbrella before, and I was like, yeah, that sold me for Ghoulies, because I missed out on the Scream Factory set. And like you said, I heard that there's supposedly a new U.S. Ghoulies cut or set coming, but I was like, I had to get this. I just had to get this. And I'm glad I did, and I thank you for that, Tom.
No, I'd like to believe that in my dream of dreams, Vinegar Syndrome got the rights to Ghoulies 1, 2, and 3, or at least the first 2 anyway. Fuck 3.
Yeah, because they got hobgoblins and stuff. So yeah,
exactly. And in my dreams, like, yeah, we're getting a 4K of the first 2 with the R-rated cut of both films, because there's technically an R-rated cut of the first film too.
Yeah, I would love to see that one too.
And like, yeah, all the deleted scenes and everything, because that's the other fun thing about those 2 TV cuts, is they both have different added shit, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, there's some stuff that's similar, but there's like 15 minutes of differences. And which is weird, because they padded that movie out quite a bit, so they must have edited a bit out. And the movie only runs 80 minutes to begin with. That's the other problem.
Yeah, it's only like 86 or 80-something minutes.
No, I think it's only like 81 or 2 minutes. Like, yeah, minutes, it's really short. So they had to pad it out anyway, yeah.
Yeah. But it's good. Do you want to move into part 3 real quick, or so we can?
Okay, yeah. 3 was one of those movies that was very elusive. And the third, okay. So one neat thing about this Spanish set, I guess the only thing that makes it worth it, because this is one I can't really recommend. Overall, I can't, because it's in a slidey case. I do enjoy that. Like, this looks really good. I love these, that we get like these nice uniformed. But of course, I'm not a big fan of this kind of thing. And you do get postcards or lobby cards from the first 3 films here, which is kind of nice. But to me, the price is just not worth it for the difference that you get with the German release. The German one, as usual, is the superior of the 2. And of course, it has Ghoulies 3 in it as well. The same scan as the other one, but this one actually has not only the real theatrical cut trailer. Because if you remember, we were talking about this off screen. For those who don't know, I was telling Greg, I'm like, I don't think they have the actual trailer for the movie on part 3. It's like the clip that they stole from like Voodoo or whatever. It's the same clip I remember seeing on there way back when. Here they actually have the actual trailer. So you get the actual trailer, plus you get like the Spanish and the French trailer as well, and the German trailer. So those are the only extras for part 3. Problem is with part 3 is it could have been a really good third sequel to Ghoulies, but for some reason, John Carl Buechler, God rest his soul, who directed the film, he upgraded the Ghoulies. They look really good. They look really good. Probably the best they're ever going to look. But unfortunately, he gave them the personalities of the Three Stooges and have them talking throughout the entire film. And it is a tonal mess. It's like 1 part Animal House, 1 part Ghoulies, 1 part Three Stooges, and it just does not mix very well. There is a good movie here. It's where the Ghoulies don't fucking talk. Outside of that, it's just a generic Animal House kind of ripoff, and that kind of works with the whole idea of because it's got a great cast. Kevin McCarthy, what's her face, who does the voice of Mrs. Krabappels in it. That's the thing, they even break the fourth wall. One of the Ghoulies goes, "Oh, isn't that who I think it is? She was on Newhart. I loved you on that show."
Yeah, that doesn't even seem like Ghoulies, but that's funny.
But yet they kill people by shoving them in a toilet. So, like, it's kind of like you're trying to sell them as like a kid's thing, but that's not coming off. And there's tons of tits everywhere in the movie. So, I mean, that's the thing, is there's a good movie in there. It was just lost somewhere in the idea of having the Ghoulies talk for some reason. I wonder if we can recut this movie and just take out all the that shit. But you can't really, because then they decide to get dressed for no apparent reason in like clothes. Like, they just kind of pop up here and there and everywhere. And I mean, because the rules are kind of consistent-ish with the first 2 movies. Kevin McCarthy calls them forth by reading out loud this comic book, which happened to transcribe this ancient text. And of course, Kevin McCarthy figures this out, and he's like the leader of the Ghoulies, and he can call them forth anytime. So whenever he calls them forth, wherever they are, they'll pop up in front of him. So they kind of play with that a little bit. And, you know, he tells them to do this and do that and whatever. So, like, that's all there. But if you took the humor out of it, it would actually be a semi-decent straight-to-video third Ghoulies movie with really bitchin' special effects, because the Ghoulies look amazing. But the attitude sucks.
See, I've never seen.
And the less said about 4, the better.
Yeah, like I said, I've never seen
4 actually brings back the original actor from the first film who played Jonathan, but he barely plays the same character. He's a detective now for some unforeseen reason. And it's his girlfriend who actually calls forth the Ghoulies, and the Ghoulies are just 2 little people in masks.
Oh,
and it really has no real connection with the other movies whatsoever. It's really kind of dumb. And that's all I really remember about it. And it's been like 10, 15 years since I've seen it. Because I actually seen Ghoulies 4, but never saw Ghoulies 3, because Ghoulies 3 was like impossible to find in the U.S. for some reason. And now I finally got my hands on it.
There you go. And you still can't find it in the U.S. I've only ever seen 1 and 2 myself. I know Charles Band actually sold the rights.
Yeah, after part 1.
Was it after the second one or the third one?
Well, he barely owned it by the second one, but yeah.
Yeah, really, and he sold it off for money to make something else. I can't remember what it was that he wanted to make, but that's why he sold it off.
He sold off some of the rights just to finish the first movie, and then I think he sold off a bunch more just to finish the second film. And that's the thing, is he was a lot like Menachem Golem and Golas, where they would sell one idea for a movie, but yet they would take the money they got for that movie and pump it into 10 other ones.
Yeah.
And so those 10 other movies would bomb, and then he basically
It was like in his biography where he built a movie franchise, a movie empire, then he lost the movie empire, and then rebuilt another one.
Pretty much. Then he damn near lost that one, and then had to kind of rebuild that again from almost scratch. But like, no, I love Charlie Band. I'd love to talk to him someday. I bet you he's a very interesting cat. I bet she's full of tons of great stories.
I would love to. I mean, he's got that new podcast out now, the Full Moon podcast. Where
I didn't even know that. You'll have to. Is that on YouTube or where's it at?
I don't know if it might be on YouTube, but I know I got the Full Moon thing. It's on that.
Gotcha.
But it's on wherever you get podcasts, and I think it's on. It could be on YouTube. I haven't never.
I'll have to check it out. Like I've thought about getting the Full Moon deal because of their Blu-ray special, but I can't find like 8 movies on there I want, and I already have the Puppet Master.
Well, I needed to flesh out my Full Moon Blu-ray collection, so it worked for me. But yeah, he's talked to John Carpenter. He's talked to Chop Top, Bill Moseley. he's talked to a couple other people too here and there that's not as big
cool.
as them, but them like that's his two big people he's talked to. It's basically him talking with his celebrity.
Well, let's
friends.
keep bugging him. Maybe we can get him on here.
Yeah, I know. He just he followed me, and I've been wanting to message him, and I was like, I don't know when's the right time to message him, but he's doing all that, so it's like he's probably not like what's his name that you've been trying to get, who's got his own podcast.
Oh, Mick Garris.
Yeah, Mick Garris. He's probably like Mick Garris.
He kind of doesn't
won't
do a lot of those. Yeah, that's what he says since he has his own podcast. But no, like, sadly, it was one of those quasi childhood. Even though I was a teenager by the time it came out, technically I was like 14 or whatever when it came out. Ghoulies 3. It was one of those movies I'd been looking for for almost 20 plus years, and I finally got my hands on it, and it sadly let me way down. Like, I mean, I kept my expectations kind of thin, but I mean,
was at least the tits good? I mean, I know it doesn't
all that shit's good.
Movie, but
see, that's what I'm saying. I think that maybe that's a project, but if I ever have a little extra time, is just go through and see if I can't edit out all their talking and see if it doesn't make the movie better.
It's like I said, like you could even do like the ghoulie sounds like from the second one over the voices of the ghoulies,
or just do it on my own for that matter. But
yeah. I still think you should do. I still think you should do that. After I did that, my review of Miracle Beach, and you did the trailer works, I still think you could do that with old trailers.
Oh, that would be fun. We should come up with something.
We should totally do. Like you could even not even have seen the movie. Just download the trailer. You could just mute the whole thing and just say whatever you want to say over the trailer.
I think part of the fun would be kind of like really just basically doing a review in the trailer, right?
Yeah, something like that.
And and just review the movie in the trailer itself, kind of thing.
Like
this
this is Charlie someone, and he's going to get seriously fucked over in this movie.
Just like you've seen 20 times in every 80s movie.
Yeah.
Just when you think it could be cliche, it's not cliche enough. They really knock it home in this one, folks.
Yeah. Ghoulies 3, the Three Stooges scenes really makes this movie a piece of shit. But
starring Kirk Cameron, which makes no sense to anybody but himself, and Dudley Moore.
Like father, like son. That reminds me.
Didn't we see this movie twice already?
I was about to say, it just reminds me. I just got 18 again on VHS. Which they
kind of already do that with the trailer thing on whatchamacallit, but I mean, this would be just older movies and just kind of like
I think you could do it, or even you could do that.
It's like honest trailers, a little bit,
like sort of like that, but like do like but you could also like do like just you could riff on it. Just get a trailer to a movie you've never seen, and just say, to fill out the plot yourself as you watch the trailer.
Yeah, but then you'd have to it would really funny is almost do like a lip sync thing, but like you kind of make up shit that they're saying.
Yeah,
kind of like bad, like mix bad lip syncing with honest trailers, and I think we got.
Yeah, that could work. Maybe. I think that would be fun. That would
it'd be more like
thing.
Okay, so instead of it actually being more like honest trailers, it'd be like us making up our own concept out of old movie trailers, right?
Yeah.
Like that, I can see. We should really start with like the 30s and 40s movies that nobody really.
Yeah, nobody knows at all.
And you have like. See romance like never before on the screen. Frankly, Susan, I think your pussy stinks.
Exactly.
Oh, John, you didn't think it stank last night.
No way.
Shit like that.
Yeah. Like, I didn't think it stinks. Tim, where'd you come from?
That's just weird. You're her brother.
I did not know that.
What?
What?
Oh, yeah, something to tell you. I forgot.
That would be funny. I think you could do that. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. We could have some
Robert,
fun with that, maybe.
Yeah, that could be fun. Robert Prosky's performance as Grandpa in Gremlins 2 is quite entertaining and seems to be the one similar to Allo, Smoke, Grandpa Munster. Grandpa Fred even mentions the Wolfman. Yeah, that's cool. But yes, if you want to check out the Ghoulies, you can get the Umbrella. The Umbrella one is actually pretty cheap, 1 and 2. It's like $25. That's not a bad deal at all. So if you want to check out that, and you could get the German port for Ghoulies 3 if you're desperate to see the Three Stooges of Ghoulies. And they're just fun movies. I like, the last one I've mentioned before that I really need to get. Well, actually, I need to get 3 of them. I need to get Munchies, Ouija's, and
I need to get Ouija's yet.
And
Ouija's is one I need to get. But yeah, I got Hobgoblins, and I finally got a slipcover for it. because that's another thing I got to give Vinegar Syndrome some cred for. A little pricey, but hey, it's pricier than paying for it on the secondary market. For $7.99, instead of me having to buy Hobgoblins all over again, they were able to just, for $7.99, I could buy the slipcover. Because they had a new slipcover for it. I'm like, fucking A, right?
Yeah.
So that's all I did, or $6.99 or whatever it was. It was affordable enough to where it's like, yeah, it's kind of whatever, but their slipcovers are really nice quality, really good art.
Very
and
sturdy.
That Hobgoblins one is
them.
really cool, actually. It's better than the movie
I've seen
itself. that slipcover is so much better than the movie. Like the movie that slipcover promises you is amazing in your head.
Yeah, it's because it's true. And that movie's
well, and it's funny because I've been toying around with this idea of making a rubber monster movie review channel, but I don't think it'll go anywhere.
We could
like
try
a separate channel, but I don't know if Andre'd be all for that or not. But like maybe I can even just do it as a section on Mead, because maybe the Script Doctor's a little harder to pin down to do the A-rated B movies. Maybe it can be an alternative to that, like rubber monster movies.
I could branch my channel and you could just do it on that if you wanted.
True. Well, like I said, that or you and I could maybe just do a show like that, like rubber monster movies on.
Just talk
monster.
We could do one talk monster
on there
movies,
and stuff like that once in a while, maybe.
That'd be awesome.
Because I've been trying to get the Kyoto brothers big time, and maybe we can get some like special effects guys to come in and talk about creepy crawlies, and if it's
awesome,
whether it's a big monster with a guy in a suit or if it's a puppet or a stop motion creature, as long as it's not something CGI, I'm all for it. Pretty much anything pre-2000s, unless it falls in any of those categories. And I don't want like crappy movies like Sharknado level shit, but like I'm talking like Ghastly's really kind of pissed me off. But that would be one I'd maybe talk about as like
that Ghastly's movie,
the worst of the bunch. But no, it'd be cool to talk about movies like that.
That'd be cool. That'd be fun. I like monster
I'd
movies.
even put like the Chucky and the Puppet Master movies into those kind of categories. Like anything that has like a toy, a puppet.
I wish I could have got. Yeah. Speaking of which, I wish I could have got William Butler, who's in Ghoulies 2. I wish I could have got him on here because he's doing that right now on Full Moon. He's got a new series on there called Baby Oopsie. It's a murder doll.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I wish he would. Yeah, I was supposed to interview him, and for whatever reason, he never got back to me. So
I'll tell you guys what. If you think that's a good idea, if Greg and I should do a show like that, let us know in the chat. Maybe we'll figure something out.
That would be fun. Like Rubbers After Dark.
We'll probably start with something like Ghoulies, just to make it kind of like, oh, you thought you'd start with Gremlins? No. Or we'll start with something even older than that, maybe.
Oh, definitely. I would
fun if we could go back and find like the oldest movie with like little beasties in it or something, or little rubber monsters. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah, I wonder what the oldest movie that would be.
I don't know.
That'd be an interesting.
Because I'd even consider like Cat's Eye in that group, because that little
with the little troll thing scared the shit out of me. I can't eat.
That's what I'm saying. You could even like talk about Labyrinth because it's got goblins.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there's all kinds of you could talk about all kinds of stuff. So it's not like there's a real limitation on this, right? Like anything that has mechanical little rubber monsters in it, stop motion kind of shit, like the Harryhausen type stuff. Godzilla would count in this if you ask me. Yeah. King Kong would count in this if you ask me. Like I said, if it's a guy in a rubber suit or a rubber monster puppet, I'm there. Like that to me it counts. I mean, I'd even almost consider stuff like Jaws because it has the big, mechanical shark kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like anything that it has that kind of a. I love those kind of movies. Like that's my.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like monster movies and rubber monster movies and stuff like that. Yeah.
So we call it little rubber monsters or rubber monster movies or something like that. We'll come up with a concept. But yeah, if you guys like it, we got 2 vote yeses already. So
yeah, that'd be interesting to also try to figure out what's one of the earliest like puppet scary horror type movies with monsters.
See, in Random Bread, you probably know enough trivia stuff. You could probably help us out with that, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're into the rubber monster movie stuff. There's one guy I do know that has like a rubber monster Facebook group. I kind of know him. I wonder if he'd be interested in. So that's the thing. We could probably get guys to come in and participate. Maybe I can get the Kyoto brothers or something like that. But
maybe I could try William Butler again.
Yeah,
because he's I know that Film Threat gave Baby Oopsie some big praise, and that Chris Gore, I believe, is follows him and stuff. He follows me too. William Butler does, but for whatever reason, he never got back to me because he did what was it called? Miskatonic You. I can't remember whatever, but it was a show on Full Moon, and I reviewed it, and he actually commented on my review.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, I'd love to interview, and he goes, follow me on Instagram, and we'll work this out. I followed him, he followed me back, and he never came on. So
that's too bad.
Yeah, so
yeah, sometimes that happens more than you'd think, even with YouTubers.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, we went way over time. Thanks, you guys, for indulging us on the Ghoulie Talk tonight. And considering there's still 20 of you watching, maybe there's something to this Rubber Monster show.
I think we might
have the little goblins and cats eye freak me. I know, right? They did a great job of that. And that's a guy in a fucking costume.
I couldn't leave my feet uncovered for like years.
I know, that is creepy.
I covered my feet up for years because of that damn movie.
Well, and I got to see that, like, it was on, I swear it was on like TBS or something like that, probably at about, that came out in what, 84 originally? Was it 84? There's a little later, 85?
It was like 84, 85. It just released on 4K.
So it would have been like on WGN or TBS. I think it was actually WGN. And it was on at like at night one time, and I caught that end sequence. And it did. It freaked me out because I was like 7 years old or whatever. So yeah, I was like, it was like 1987, I want to say, probably 86, 87, somewhere in there.
It freaked me out too because I saw it around that my young age, probably about 6, maybe 7, and I was like, oh, what's this? Oh. Yeah, now my feet will never be bare ever again.
Yeah, right? I hate when I tucked in sheets, but yeah, I did for a few years.
Like, thanks Stephen King and this troll guy.
Didn't somebody do like some video like that, and like on the Jaws thing that just makes Richard Dreyfuss look like a crazy fucking idiot?
I think somebody did, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds familiar. But no, like I'm sure when we do like the Godzilla stuff, there's going to be no shortage of people helping out there. But I think there's something to that. I think we can have some fun with that.
I think we could figure it out, figure something how to do it. We'll figure it out.
Kind of an offshoot of this, kind of how we kind of planned to watch the Ghoulies, and I think that worked out pretty good. I mean, we got almost an hour discussion out of that shit. Yeah, we could have kept going. There's even tons of stuff we didn't cover.
Yeah, because we only covered parts of it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that reminded me, I've been thinking about moving the physical media show over after it airs a couple days over, moving it over to a new channel. But it's just, I got 50 episodes. I don't have a whole lot of time to move them.
Sometimes it even does better just to take them down from the live thing and make it private or
I was thinking about unlisting them, but I know some people actually still
re-upload the episode. But the only downside of that is you don't get the chat response.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But you can do that too, otherwise. Yeah.
These actually do pretty good after we air them. They actually people watch them all the way into like Tuesday.
It doesn't seem like it's affecting the channels as much anymore to leave up live streams and doing live streaming as much like it used to. But again, I have not had the most growth of anybody on YouTube, so. Like my growth is very steady but very slow. So yeah.
Yeah, mine's steady but slow, but it's doing pretty good.
But it reminds me when people like seemingly have no patience on here, because I see a lot of people who are like, God, I can't make it already, and it's like, dude, you realize I've been doing this for fucking years?
Yeah, yeah,
years and years and years. Because somebody was complaining about their I think their Twitter account the other day, and I'm like. They're like, how do I get more followers? I'm like, quit paying attention to it. That's kind of what you have to do. You just got to kind of quit, because otherwise you're going to drive yourself nuts if you start counting fucking subs and followers.
Yeah, I try not to.
It's not healthy.
Think about it too much.
And this is coming from somebody who's like at best maybe lower to mid level. Like I'm not unaware that I'm totally not in the level of like Critical Drinker or any of those guys. But like, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it's just steady wins the race. Eventually. You know, you'll find your way, but if you sit there and count, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, just trust in your content, trust in what you're putting out there. Don't. Like one of the best advices was like, don't compare yourself to like other people's channels, especially the bigger channels, because you don't have the same audience. You're not there. I mean, I got like I'm small. I'm smaller than Tom, and I try not to let myself think about all that because
you've
if
been
I do,
working at
like,
this for how
it
many
just drives
years
me
now,
crazy.
though?
Yeah, I've been doing like myself on camera for like 3 years.
But here's the thing: you've gotten yourself with very little, outside of what you've done for yourself. You've got over 7,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Do you realize how long it took me to get where I'm at? Like, I've been working with Midnight's Edge now for close to 5 years. And prior to that, the most I had conjured up on my own, I think, was like 2K on my one channel. Yeah. So, like, trust me, that is no easy feat for anybody. So that's a pretty damn good... Like not everybody can be like a Valiant Renegade where they're able to just start.
He's kicking ass, man.
But sometimes that's just it. Is finding your niche, right? Like sometimes it feels like an overnight thing. So I can kind of understand that because that kind of did happen to me, and that's why I've always been so open to everybody in the fellowship or whatever you want to call it, because it is one of those things that it's a hard grind. I know what it is because even before the Midnight's Edge thing, what got me to that place was grinding it out for years, trying different things. You never know what's going to be your thing. So, yeah.
I mean, like when I started
thing going here. So don't need to cut yourself down. 7K is nothing to sneeze at in a couple of years.
I mean, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, like I started out just making silly music videos about Superman, and then I decided to start making videos, and then I tried to trend chasing stuff like on Star Wars and stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is not me. And then I started my 80s stuff and in physical media, and that's when it really clicked in for me. So that's where I fell in, and I think I've done pretty good. And I try not to compare don't get me wrong, I would love to have my videos going over thousands of views, but like if I got 5 people watching, I got 5 people watching. I mean, it's like that's 5 people that it's hearing me out. So
well, to be honest, that's kind of what I did to build myself up where I was. That's where I found my niche finally, was doing physical media stuff, really, more so than anything. Then I did a couple Ghostbuster videos when that came out and a few other things, and that caught Andre's eye. But prior to that, I was building my audience just doing Blu-ray reviews mainly. So, yeah, I mean, I could have probably kept doing that and eventually built myself up and been like one of these serial at midnight guys or films at home and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure I could have been to that level at this point, but no, I'm very happy where I'm at, where I went. It was definitely not what I had planned on, definitely not what I expected, and things definitely didn't turn out the way I expected to in any way, shape, or form, but it's been a hell of a ride, and I've met guys like Greg, and I've happened to meet people like Robert Meyer Burnett and Chris Gore, who kind of are heroes to me in some ways, unlike Kevin Smith, who taught me not to meet some of your heroes, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though I never actually met him face to face, he shut the door in my face before I even had a chance to. But you'll have that sometimes, and
that happens.
So if you're somebody who's trying to do your thing on YouTube, my first and last thing I always tell them is just do what you love, because at the end of the day, chances are you're not going to get the results you want. So you better just be happy that whatever you put out there is you. Right, like it's what you want to
be authentic.
And you're happy with it, and just be happy with it that you put it out in the world, and you never know who's going to find it. Viral videos happen sometimes way later than you think. Sometimes it's just one of those things.
Yeah, it's true. It's like as long as you're
and to be honest, it's better to build yourself up than to just be a flash in the pan too. Right, because that's another thing to keep in mind. So
because you don't want to burn out real quick, because like you hit it big and then you get like all that, and then you kind of I've seen people burn out,
especially if you become quick. One note, then it's like chasing that dragon over and over and over again.
Yeah, like me, I love talking physical media. I love doing physical media things, but I also like doing reviews, and my reviews typically don't do a lot of video, but I don't care.
Right.
I mean,
luckily physical media is a broad genre anyway, but like let's say for instance, I'm very happy to see a lot of my friends in the LawTube community getting a lot of success out of this Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, but after Ezra Miller's stuff is done, is there really going to be anything else there? I mean, I don't know. You never know. They might not have anything to talk about for a while. You always have that risk. That's the fortunate thing that I sometimes take for granted, and I don't really take for granted at the same time, because I was the first one to notice that there ain't shit coming out for a couple months here, kids.
Yeah, they're not for a while. So
it's going to be a dry
I'm kind of glad
run,
I don't. Yeah, I'm kind of glad I don't cover a lot of like new releases, because then I would be pretty dried out on content for a little bit.
It's going to be an interesting run. I mean, there's plenty of things we can do. We're probably going to end up doing a little more retrospective work, but at the same time, sometimes quiet times like these are when the most news happens too. So you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Because there might be a lot of moving and shaking. Yeah. I mean, we're hearing a bunch of Fantastic Four news as we're on this show. I'm getting in the background. Ping, 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 ping.
Oh, there you go.
Supposedly, the latest rumor is that Steven Spielberg is being talked to for Fantastic Four. I'm like, okay.
No, really?
There's supposedly some leaked concept art for Doctor Doom that looks pretty good. I don't want to get my hopes up because it could be just fan bullshit at the same time.
Yeah, you never know with that.
I haven't heard it from any credible sources yet, necessarily. One I could kind of say is credible, but I don't know if they're really saying it themselves or if they're just reiterating what's out there, so we'll see. If I hear more, though, then maybe we'll talk about it.
That'd be interesting. I look forward to that because I do enjoy watching your guys' stuff on Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark. I do.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's like, seriously, your guys' channel, Gary's, Pop Culture Minefield, the Fandom Collective, and like you guys and Geeks and Gamers, you guys are what inspired me to want to actually do my stuff. I watched you guys all the time, and I was like, I was like, I need to do something, so I started doing it. So you guys really, you all inspired me very much. So I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. Maybe we'll figure out how to do that Real Monsters. Real Monsters. Too bad that's what's taken.
Little Rubber Monsters. I'm sure we can come something with that, like Rubber Monster movies or something like that.
Yeah. So we'll figure that out. Yeah. But I appreciate you guys hanging in the chat. Everybody, Dan Blackroyd, Random Brad Creator. Sorry, I always mess up your name there. Aaron Johnson, Cosmic Squirrel. Getting some love in the chat from them, saying how much they love our channels. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you to everybody. Hank HVP, Tyrell 72, Martin Acosta Santana. If I missed your name, I apologize, but thank you guys for hanging with us this long. We ran a little over. We got a little talkative about some stuff. Tim Morrell, thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much, and it's been fun. But it's that time of night, and
how you doing? Bitches leave.